Turn the lights down low and the drama up. She's late, she's loud, and she live. Woo! You already know who it is. Shades 2, baby. She back again. Mic hot, crowd lit, vibe on 10. Shay walk in like we back again. News, tea, jokes and spins. She don't do small talk, she go in. From the headlines to the comment section, she call names with no correction. You tuned in, don't act brand new. It's late night, baby, she got that view.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Look on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I lacked game, back again.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Look on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. Popcorn ready, wig on alert. She dropped one line and somebody hurt. Talk show queen with a side of roast. She run this thing from coast to coast. Late on purpose, still on time. She hit you with shade, then call it a rhyme. Talk smart, talk slick, talk flame. Say the name right, yeah, late night with Shay.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Look on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Look on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. That's right. News, drama, laughs, whatever else you feel like. One mic, one queen. Late night with Shay. On Shay's tube, she back again.
It's late night with Shay.
Yeah, she say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again.
It's late night with Shay.
She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. Yeah.
All right, guys. Happy and blessed Friday, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm coming at you guys today with special live afternoon talk time because today is Diddy's sentencing day, and I wanted to go ahead and cover it and be right here when they announce how much time he gets. Now, last night, if you saw my live last night, me and Jermaine and some other people, we try to basically guess how long he would get. I said 4.5 to 5 years. Hopefully not, but that's what I guess. Jermaine said, I believe he said 18 months plus probation. Okay. Of course, time served. And other people were like somewhere in between. They either said they just hope he gets probation and that's it. Okay. So we're going to see this morning, afternoon, where you guys are at, and we're going to watch this live. But until they come out with the actual sentencing, I'm going to recap the things that went on so far at the sentencing hearing. Okay. Court date. All right, but before we do that, you know I have to do that copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. That entire copyright disclaimer is in my description area, and part of it is scrolling across that screen. Welcome to everybody in the bushes, everybody who watches this in the replay. Over here in the chat, we got Jermaine in the place to be, and of course myself in the chat, you guys, and hopefully some people come in. And again, thank you. If you are at home or wherever you're at, go get you something to drink, relax, and seat. If you are at work, continue to listen or watch me on the down low. And y'all, we are getting ready to get started with this recap of Sean Diddy Combs' sentencing. All right. And oh, I forgot to tell you guys to thumbs up this video if you enjoyed this content. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe below and hit that bell notification so you can be notified of any upcoming videos. Make sure to share and leave a comment. And if you want to show additional support for this channel, feel free to do a super sticker, super chat, or you can copy yourself a membership for $4.99 per month or you can do a cash app to $Shades too. We definitely appreciate the real ones, and thanks to everybody who have already donated. You know, and y'all know the donations are used to help pay for expenses with this channel. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and recap what they have done so far in the courtroom. And let me turn my music up just a tad. And I hope you guys are having a blessed day. You know, I really do. Let's see. Okay. So far now they just came back from lunch. Okay. So I don't know how much longer they're going to take to, you know, the judge to tell Sean Diddy Combs what he is giving him. He did say he wasn't going to deviate from the sentencing guidelines. Okay, so I don't know if that's good news or bad news. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about what happened so far. Let me go all the way back. Let's go all the way back. All the way back. They've been in court for a long time. Ever since 7, I believe. Ever since 7 a.m. Okay, let's go on back. I mean, they've been talking a lot. His kids been testifying, all types of. They watched the video. Sean Diddy Combs was up in there crying. Okay. Hey, Sabrina, thank you so much for tuning in. I even did some vocal exercises so my voice won't go out. I said I need to start doing that. Oh my God, this is a lot of stuff, you guys. Hold on. It is going back. Okay, hold on. Let me go all the way back. They have so hopefully when they come back, since they're back right now, it won't be long. So let's see. Long. Man, hold on, let's see. So, wait, let me make sure. Damn, this is a long ass day so far, man. I'm just reading this stuff. This is a lot of stuff. So let me just recap some of the stuff that they went over. This is a lot of stuff. I did not even realize this is a lot. So, so the judge, Aaron Submaranian, he did give his insights into how he was going to approach today's sentencing hearing. Right. Thank you, Jermaine. You said based off of the sentencing guidelines, he's probably going to get 5 to 7 years, which is crazy. And I told you guys, I believe 4.5 to 5. And don't ask me how I came up with that because I did explain it. I said that prosecution was asking for 11 years. So I'm just thinking Judge Submaranian will go and, you know, divide that up by 2. All right. That's what I said. And that's where I got that, you know, 4.5 or 5 years, which is really crazy, or 5.5 years, which is really crazy. All right. It really is. I know some people want him to go to prison for a long time. But, you know, honestly, there are so many men out here that transport, call women, escorts, whatever you want to call them, for the purposes of X, keyword, and everything else. And I feel like, you know, some of them need to be, you know, in court too. Okay, if they want to crack down and use Sean Diddy Combs as the person to start with, they need to start cracking down all the way around, point blank. So anyway, like I said, some factors he considered today. Okay, so he said the judge said he's found that the court may consider acquitted conduct, among other factors, when sentencing Combs. And as you know, the defense is arguing for a lenient sentence for Combs, while the prosecution wants a tougher sentence. They're asking for 11 years. All right. I don't know how they at first prosecution was only asking for 5 years. Then all of a sudden they went up. I'm thinking that maybe the letters that people wrote into the courts, they might have been considering that. So one appropriate sentencing is that the judge accepted the range of 70 to 87 months. That was recommended in the pre-sentencing report. Okay. He's also talking about a fine ranging from $25,000 to $250,000. Hey, Tanya, thank you so much for being here. These are all my country Wayne people, you guys. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Now, that's not too bad. 25,000 to 250,000 is not too bad. Now, you got some characterization of some witnesses. Okay. You got a report from Cassie. All right. Now, the defense objected to the same reports, characterization of Cassandra, Ventura, Jane, and the paid male escorts as victims. Okay. The judge overruled that objection, saying evidence in the trial established that they were transported for the purpose of engaging in a commercial X act. Then, of course, Diddy's remorse. The defense objected to the same report, not giving Combs credit for acceptance of responsibility. The judge said Combs has challenged his factual guilt as to his conviction, and that while he has expressed remorse for some things, he has not expressed remorse as to what he's been convicted of, which is transporting people to engage in the P word. All right. Now, the prosecution claims Combs' respect for the law is just lip service. All right. So they basically think that he's just talking. All right. And he's not being really, he's not showing accountability for any of his actions. He's just giving you guys lip service. He's faking. He doesn't think he did anything. All right. Let's see who is this person right here. Okay, so prosecutor Christy Slavic said that the defendant does not appreciate or understand the gravity of his criminal conduct. He said he has booked speaking engagements in Miami for next week. That is the height of hubris, Your Honor. And if I probably said that wrong, let me spell it for you. Hubris. Okay. Again, prosecutors keeps on pushing for 11 years because they claim that the government wants 11 years. This is crazy. Cassie ought to be ashamed of herself to some point, okay? Prosecutor said today is about accountability and justice, all right? They said that Sean Diddy Combs committed serious federal crimes repeatedly over the course of 15 years. Injustice for the public, including for the victims whose lives have been shattered by the defendant's acts of abuse and exploitation. That's what prosecutor attorney Christy Slavic said. Okay. She said this isn't just a case about freak-offs or hotel nights. It's not just a case about X. It's a case with real victims who have suffered real harm at the hands of the defendant, who, because of the defendant, have questioned their own self-worth and desire to live. That's what the prosecution said. Okay, like I said, the judge said he did not see a reason to deviate from advisory sentencing range, okay, which is 70 to 87 months. How many years is that, Jermaine? Let's see, 24, I don't know, 36. I guess 5 years, I believe. 5 to 7 years, if I'm not mistaken. So they did do a pre-sentencing report, which we just basically talked about, talking about the calculations of the sentencing guideline range. All right. Sean Diddy Combs' defense team objected to the pre-sentencing report, not giving him credit for acceptance of responsibility. All right. Judge Aaron Submaranian said that Combs has challenged his factual guilt as to his conviction, and that while he has expressed remorse for some things, he has not expressed remorse as to what he's been convicted of, which is, again, transporting people to engage in the P word. Okay, now let's go ahead and move on up because they're just going back and forth with the same basic thing. Okay, so then somewhere later on in this court case, The prosecution said this is not just a simple transportation case. All right. She also said other defendants have received significant sentencing. She said, even though the defendant wants to frame this as a simple transportation case, that's not what this is. She said this case includes aggravating factors, including uncontested violence. Let me go over here to y'all comments. She said this whole thing is a public lynching. It's ridiculous. So she said that other defendants have received significant sentencing. So I wish I would have had time enough to look that up to see how many people have been sentenced and what their sentence is for transportation for the purpose of the P word underneath the Mann Act. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Prosecutor said Combs inflicted life-changing abuse on his victims. They still, of course, they're talking about that tape, okay, that video. The video of Sean Diddy Combs assaulting Cassie in 2016 at the Intercontinental Hotel was played multiple times at this trial, and it never got easier to see. That's what prosecutor Christy Slavic said. She also noted that the altercation was in a public hallway in broad daylight. Imagine how much worse it was behind closed doors. Both Cassie and Jane, another woman who accused Combs of abuse and testified under a pseudonym, suffered a deeply intimate and personal harm. She added that Cassie's victim impact statement makes clear that she is still grappling with the consequences of his abuse. The horrors of what she endured drove her to have S-offs, which she almost acted on. Jane's texts and notes that were shown at trial demonstrate the anguish and trauma she experienced in her relationship with Sean Diddy Combs. The defendant's abuse was consistent, casual even, but life-changing for the people on the bruised end of it. Okay, so that's what Attorney Slavic said, okay? Now let's see what else we got here. And then prosecutor also accuses Combs in defense of victim blaming. Okay, she said Diddy Combs' relationships were mutually toxic and is nothing more than victim blaming. The defendant does not stop at blaming victims. He's also claimed that drugs, alcohol, and psychological challenges contributed to his violence. Even in his submission last night, his remorse was qualified. She pointed to lines in his letters to the judge that indicate his domestic violence was a burden he had to bear, saying that he was making it sound like he's the victim in this scenario. She also said there are reasons to question that he is ready to move on from his previous conduct, adding that the victims don't have the luxury. Now, I do not agree with this. This is a damn lie of moving on so easily. They do. If they get some help, don't associate with this dude ever again. Just walk away from all of this. They can move on. Some of these assaults happened so long ago. Again, I'm still trying to figure out why did these people take so long to even come out? I mean, for real. And I know that victims sometimes take a while, to come out and, call the police and just talk about their experience and do things about it. But waiting 10 years, come on, you guys, 10, 15 years and things like that. And then Jane Doe, I believe, is this the woman that he was paying her mortgage? If somebody was beating my ass, and excuse my language, I don't know if I really want to basically be dealing with them at all. How are you taking money from this dude if he did so much stuff to you? If this is the same lady? Because there's so many people, I forgot who is who. So, I mean, even though I empathize and sympathize with these victims, the real victims, I still say some people are lying and exaggerating things, okay? Sean Diddy Combs was absolutely wrong for beating up Cassie like he did. I really despise any man who put their hands on a woman. All right, point blank. Y'all know I'm against that 100%. And Cassie should have gotten out of there some kind of way and never came back to this dude again. Listen, a lot of women have been in love with men, okay? But you cannot stick around with them when they are beating your ass, okay? They can possibly unalive you. Some of them even go and unalive the kids. So why stay in that situation? Period. Especially if you got the resources and the capability to move on. Some of these women who be in these domestic violence relationships depend solely on their partners, okay? And that's why some of them stay there, because they know if they leave, they can't afford anything. Their kids are going to really suffer and things like that. So they stick around, even though under that circumstances, I say don't stick around either. Okay. Because in the long run, if something happened to you, you know, or your kids, you're going to regret staying there. Sometimes you have to struggle to get away from that type of, situation. And I know what I'm talking about because I too was in a domestic violence situation. And yeah, it did take me a long time to walk away, but I eventually walked away. Okay. So I'm not just one of those YouTubers who is sitting behind the screen talking about something and never experienced it. I was in a domestic violence situation ever since I was 16 years old. All right. He didn't start at 16. He didn't start until I got 18, basically. But I fought him back. I don't know if I ever told you guys about this, but I did. I think I did. And I got out of it. It took years, but I got away from it. Okay. So it can be a difficult situation. All right. But if you got the resources, okay, which I didn't at the time because he was doing everything financially, you need to leave, period. You can't be up here engaging in stuff because you love this man and all this other stuff, and you don't really want to do it. Then you do it because you want to make him happy. That's crazy. Over and over and over again for years. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real. Yeah, women sometimes do stuff for men to make them happy. But if you know that it's not something you want to do, like I said, you may do it a couple of times, but you're not gonna keep on doing it and doing it and doing it for years, for 10 years. Come on, you guys. I didn't even stay in my relationship for 10 years. And I was younger. I was a kid. And my first boyfriend was older than myself too, just to let you guys know. Let me read this. You said, right, if you are actually assaulting me, I'm not taking no money. I don't care how much it is. Right. How are you still letting this man pay your mortgage and he's physically abusing you, assaulting you and everything? I would tear him off and let him have his damn mansion. But we know why. We know why. And I don't think it's 100% fair how they are doing this court case. I just don't. I know Sean Diddy Combs is nowhere near being innocent. I know before he even went to court, I believe people when they were saying he was abusing Cassie. I really did. I used to talk about it all the time. I was one of the first person who brought out this case when she first started talking about it. Okay? Way back in November of 2020, what? It's been a long time that I've been talking about Diddy and covering this case. There have been rumors for years about Cassie getting, physically abused by him. And all these people who want to get up here and talk now, they was aware of this. Shh. You said Cassie could have been left. She likes the lifestyle, etc. Some women believe if your man don't beat them, they don't love them, which is crazy as heck. How can somebody love you if they're beating your butt? If they're hitting you black in your eyes, knocking you on the ground, the floor, stomping you, punching you like a daggone man. That's not love, please. And the thing about it, she was young, the baby. I was 16 years old, and I knew that it was not right. All right? I knew that it was not right when I turned 17, 18. I knew that was not right. Shh. And the reason why I stayed is because when I had my daughter, I was trying to make our relationship work out. Cassie did not have any kids with Diddy. Shh. She definitely made some money. And that's another thing too. All of these victims of domestic violence, we're not getting millions, not even thousands, not even hundreds. All right. You get paid $30 million. All right. He goes to jail. He does some time, go to court, trial, everything. And you still coming back. You say you are scared of this man, but were you scared of him all these other years? What about your husband? That's your protector. Please. And then the husband used to work for him too? Okay. Well, honestly, it would have been a fight between him and I still would get the 30 million. You know, I would have fought back. Let's keep it real. I don't know who would have been in the hospital or wherever, because I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? It sure is, because I know I'm just telling you, let me put it like this. My first boyfriend, who is my ex, we're friends now. He was every bit of 5'11" or 6 feet. I can't remember. He was an ex-Marine. He was 7 years older than me too. And I fought his ass back. I'm going to be perfectly honest. And I was smaller at that time. I fought him back every single time. Never had any scars on me. Every single time I fought him back. So I can't imagine me letting this dude do stuff and me not reciprocating back, point blank. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate you. Let me put this over here and do this. Oh, wait a minute. I always be doing weird stuff. I be pushing the wrong things all the time. Let me put this up here real quick. Yeah, but I just, like I said, I'm not blaming her or victim blaming or whatever you want to call it. I'm just telling the damn truth. Let's keep it real. Y'all people all go and follow the flock, which I do not like. You got people who know this is not right, saying it's right because everybody else is saying that. But you let other people be in high positions that is convicted of rape and things like that, sexual assault or whatever he was convicted of. It's not a good look. Okay, so y'all can't say a damn thing about anything. Let's keep it real. You can't say nothing. How are you going to condone one man, but you don't condone the rest? What about the I can't even say it right. You know, the Crombie dude, the Crombie Finch guy, the ex-CEO. His old ass was sitting up there doing the most when he was younger with his partner or whatever the case is, 2 young girls. He's out on bail. Okay, he's been out on bail. Okay, and of course they hide behind the fact that he's sick. Yeah, how convenient. They waited forever to get this old ass man, and now he's too sick to even be held accountable. And then you got so many other, Russell Brand, a bunch of them. Things are not fair. If you're going to condone one person, you definitely have to condone all of them. I'm so sick of y'all being unfair about stuff. It's plainly ridiculous. If you are going to condone one person, condone all of that. And also condone all these men who sit up here and pick up these peas all off the corners and stuff, buying eggs from these peas, all right? Flying in escorts. No good and damn well they're not escorting. They're doing extra things. Condone them too. Condone some of you guys' husbands, boyfriends who pick up off the corner and have X with them and transport them for the purpose of extra stuff, commercial X and other things. Come on now. If you're going to do it with everyone. You know what I'm saying? It's not right. This man did deserve to be in trouble on everything. He really did. Okay? He really, truly did. All right? However, giving him 20 years, 11 years, 765 is plainly ridiculous. You know? And then she say, and other people say, they are scared if he gets out. What are you going to do when he gets out in 4 or 5 years? What are you going to do then? What are you going to say then? Okay, were you scared 5 years ago? Were you scared 6 years ago, 7 years ago? If you are scared now, you should have been definitely afraid back then, okay? Because the same thing he could do if he get out is the same thing he could have did back then, and he can still do even if he goes behind bars, all right? I've said that before. Many people have done things while they are locked up. That does not stop somebody if they want to do something to you. They got friends, they got associates. Come on, y'all. You should be scared anyway if you're scared. And if you got money, you know what you should be doing. Preparing. Even if you don't got any damn money, you should be prepared. That's crazy as heck. So let's go ahead and finish this thing because, you know, I get to talking and I just go on and on and on. But again, thanks to Tanya for that donation. And let me do this real quick before I forget, because y'all not going to do this crazy little thing. Don't laugh. All right. Okay, so let me read y'all comments real quick. Okay, let's see. You said she's not scared. Trap Star, thank you for being here. She's been paid to take him down. I know that's right, Trap Star. All right. I don't agree with men putting their hands on a woman. My father said a real man would never hit a woman. And you got some of these cowards who are sitting behind screens and at home or wherever the hell they're sitting at, and they're talking all of this smack, and they have beat or hit their women. All right. And I don't like that either. Let me tell y'all something. My soon-to-be ex has never put his hands on me. I don't care if I talk too much or whatever the case is. He never put his hands on me. When I first met him, I remember we got into a little argument, and I jumped up like I'm about to do something. He was like, you can jump your little ass right back down, or better yet, you're going to jump right out of my house, and either you can leave on your own, or I'll call the police, Jermaine, and put you out, point blank. Because I'm not dealing with that ghetto stuff. I don't know where you been with that, but you're not going to come here with that. And ever since that day, I shaken up and never did that shit again. And if a lot of men put their foot down, if a woman tries to get too much, doing too much, it wouldn't happen again. Oh, I don't want to call the police. Well, damn it, I'll call the police. Why wouldn't you call the police? If you don't call the police and you make a mistake and hit her, she's going to call the police on you, or somebody else is going to call the police on you, and your dumb ass is still going to jail. You're still going to see the police. That's stupid. All right? I had to tell my son, he is a police officer, a detective. When his first girlfriend called herself, well, she did hit him, but I had taught him before, me and my soon-to-be ex, don't put your hands on a woman unless it's self-defense. So she smacked him upside the head with a phone. What she did, she hid in the closet and caught him on the phone talking to another woman. So she busted out the closet and smacked him dead upside the head with her cell phone. And he said he was so mad, he remembered what I said, and he punched the wall instead. And then he put her out. That is the way you're supposed to do it. He didn't call the police because he's a police himself, and he said that she would get in trouble. He didn't want to get her in trouble, but he did put her out. You don't hit no damn woman, shit, unless she's getting a weapon at you or something like that, and you don't have no choice but to defend yourself. Y'all need to stop it. Y'all got the nerve to talk about Sean Diddy Combs. You said nobody blaming her, but she's been vindictive now. She's not scared. I don't know if she's scared or not, but the thing is, was she scared years ago? Okay, was she scared back then? She got a whole husband. If he can't protect her, then what's up? All right, and then protect yourself. I believe in women protecting themselves too. If you're out walking outside at night and some dudes come up to you and they try to grab you, some of these dudes will unalive your man. And then what you gonna do? Scream? You should have your own weapon. Okay, that's what I believe in. So you said she isn't scared either. I don't know if this woman's scared or not, like I said before, because I don't know her. Okay, but y'all know y'all can say whatever y'all want to over here. Y'all can, you don't have to agree with Shay's too. You said I really hope he gets some time. How much time do you hope he gets, Sabrina? Because over here on Shay's Tube, you are free to say whatever you want to. We do not have to agree on everything. I'll support putting Diddy in prison, but only if Trump serves this time for his 34 felonies. I know. Can you list what he got? The felonies he has, Jermaine, please, because I would like to know. All right, so let me finish reading this because you know how we get off into something else. So, like I said, the prosecutors accusing Combs in defense of victim blaming. Okay, and we just talked about that. So let's go ahead and go to the next. So they say Combs has denied guilt and knew his conduct was illegal when it happened. Of course he did. Okay, but some of these people who participated willingly, they also know that it was illegal what they were doing, and yet they did it. And none of these people are in trouble because they probably made some kind of deal with them, immunity or something like that for them to talk. It's not right. Now let's see here. So the probation department, the court's probation department, recommended 70 to 87 months in prison. All right. Now the defense has argued that Sean Diddy Combs should be sentenced to no more than 14 months in prison, including his time already served. And to be quite honest with you guys, I say on the real, just to let him know this is unacceptable. I also say, the 4 to 5 years is just what I'm thinking because of what they're trying to do. But honestly, I would give him, if I was the judge in this case, he would probably get about 2 years. I know some of y'all don't like that, Because for me, I know he's not on trial for domestic violence. Okay. I know he's not. But it's not just that tape. It's just the fact that people have said, that he has done physical violence to him. Okay. And since they are allowing all of this information to be there, even though it happened a long time ago, I would basically have to look at that. Okay. And some other things I would have to look at. So for me, if I was the judge, it wouldn't be the 14 months. It would probably be 24 months in prison for me with time served. Okay, point blank. Because I need to teach him a lesson. You can't do certain things. Point blank. You cannot do certain things. Period. All right. And anybody, not saying that he's doing this, but 2 years, he'll have time to think, go into more classes, and make a recovery from, doing whatever he was doing, period. But definitely not 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 years, none of that. It's too long. You got people who have committed even more serious crimes and they don't go to prison for no damn 7 years or 10 years. He could possibly get 20 years, which I doubt. 10 years for each charge. So let's see here. So Combs did give them a thumbs up as he walked back to his seat when they went back into court, I guess, from a break that they had. He was smiling and nodding and tapping his chest, and he gave a thumbs up as he walked back to his seat. So his kids was there, you guys. All of them were there, and they all talked, all right? The defense attorney argued that Sean Combs did not make a single cent off of his Mann Act conduct. In other words, he did not make anything off of the charge they are charging him with. All right. So in other words, I don't know the P word. He did not make any money off of that. Okay. He did not profit anything. Let's see here. A man was convicted on the Mann Act and profited over $1.4 million from P women. And he was convicted in Cuba for doing the same. And that defendant was sentenced to 5 years in prison. So that's another reason why I said if I was giving Diddy any time, it would be 2 years, honestly, but the judge would probably give him more. Let me see here. So they were still talking about, they haven't made their mind up yet. Okay, I thought they did. Okay, let me go back to this. Okay, let's go over here. So I got to go back to this because I was sitting up here looking at the breaking news, guys. So the prosecution does acknowledge that Combs did not profit from the P thing at all. Okay. So again, I don't know how they even got him underneath that man like that, but it is what it is. Hold on for 1 second, y'all. My allergies was messing up. Okay, let's see here. So anyway, they've been talking about the Mann Act repeatedly in court. So here's what to know about it, okay? Now, the Mann Act was enacted in 1910 and originally known as the White Slave Traffic Act. It criminalizes transporting people across state lines for the P word. You know what I'm talking about, the oldest profession in history. Prostitution, just in case y'all don't know. Its language, which legal scholars have defined as vague, has led to controversial prosecutions, including against Black champion heavyweight boxer Jack Johnson in 1913. It was more recently used in high-profile cases, including against R&B singer R. Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. Now, if you want to know more about that act, you can feel free to Google it. Okay. Let's see here. So Sean's defense attorneys argued that Combs' conviction doesn't compare to many Mann Act cases, because like we just heard, you guys, one of them in particular, the dude made millions off of that, okay? And he was only sentenced to, what did I say, 5 years, I think, or something like that, or 7 years. I can't remember, somewhere around that time. And he was also charged, convicted of that in Cuba as well. Now, defense attorney Jason Driscoll is continuing to refer to other Mann Act convictions, cases where people were convicted of transporting people across state lines for the P word. And he uses that to argue for a lenient sentence for Diddy. Now, as we know, Combs was convicted of 2 counts of transportation to engage in the P word, stemming from the federal Mann Act. Driscoll said he reviewed more than 900 Mann Act cases. He said Mann Act victims share common themes. Many of them are immigrants, homeless, D addicts, or mentally ill. Profit motive is essential in these cases because many defendants are pimps who make a living off of the people they exploit. Combs would not be considered a pimp because he did not commit the offenses for any type of personal gain. Combs did what he did to get his, how can I say it? To get his freak on. All right, let's keep it real. He sat up there and got these people to come out to him on planes, jets, or whatever. And he watched them perform with his girlfriends. And he did the M thing while they performed. He never had any ex with any of them. He never had them out there selling anything. He never made any money. All right. Also, the defense identified 4 cases in which Johns, you know what Johns are? Those are people, I guess, that buy it, that buy X from women who are selling it. They were convicted and sentenced for Mann Act conduct. The average sentence for those defendants was 6.7 months. The defense has argued Combs should get no more than 14 months, essentially time already served. And that's basically, 14 months, 24 months is almost, the same. Judge Hayron Submaranian, before Driscoll started his presentation, has said he doesn't see a reason to deviate from sentencing guidelines, which call for a prison sentence between just under 6 years to just over 7. The prosecution has called for a sentence of more than 11 years, and that is plainly ridiculous. They need their butts kicked, even suggesting something so damn stupid. All right. Now, also Combs' team put up a video, okay, and it shows Combs doing a lot of things for people. They also talked about how he started his own record label as a Black young male back then, all right, when it was pretty much hard to do that. They said this changed the industry and it changed the culture. But more importantly, it changed countless people's lives. Because what people recognize is that if Mr. Combs could do it, then they could do it too. Also, they talked about him launching his own clothing line, gave many people jobs, and, he had a Black-owned clothing line. They also said Combs reached success in the industry. He started to help others, especially young people in his own community that most people would not give a shot to. All right. So let's go up here and see what else we're going through. Then the defense attorney got emotional and she talked about how Combs inspired her. That's defense attorney Nicole Westmoreland. So her voice started quivering with emotion and she started sniffling as she now says that when Sean Diddy Combs launched his Revolt production company, it was one of the few Black-owned multi-platform networks. Revolt focused on Black culture and promoted the voices of Black journalists. Okay, Mr. Combs has spent a lot of time and effort and focus on helping his community. People who are struggling to find their way or constantly hit with barriers. People that are trying to achieve their goals, follow their dreams. He has dedicated so much of his life to breaking the chains of systemic racism. She also said that Combs personally inspired her about 8 years ago at an event he spoke at in Washington, D.C. He said, if you do not remember anything that I am saying today, remember as you accomplish your dreams, don't forget to help others. And that changed my life. And that's what Attorney Westmoreland said with audible emotion in court today. All right. Now, let me read y'all comments over here real quick. Okay, so you said over here, let's see. This is the list right here. Okay, I'm going to look at that. I got to go to it on my other phone. We're going to look at that list. I want to see what y'all are president was charged with. Okay. Thank you, Jermaine. So you agree with the 14 months. Okay, Trap Star 23. Did I tell you, hey, okay, if I didn't, thank you for being here. Okay. He should be out like everyone else that has committed similar offenses. I agree. He already thinks he's invincible. All these, listen, he's not the only one who thinks he's invincible. All these damn rich people think that. When they got a lot of money, Sabrina, it's like they believe they cannot be touched. But I blame society for this, okay? The people who put them on a pedestal, the people who act like they are gods, the people who worship every damn thing they do. That's who I blame, all right? Point blank. You have illers out on bail. They have handled him wrong intentionally. They want to keep him so they can so they can expire him while he's in jail. They don't plan on letting him out. I know that's right, Trap Star 23, and you're right when you said they be letting illers out, all right? Because you got people who be out here victimizing little kids, and they're out. People who have unalived little kids, abuse their children, and unalive them, and they get bail. Now, what's wrong with that daggone picture? Men who be beating the hell out of their girlfriends and wives get out on bail and then get out and unalive them and the kids. What's wrong with that picture? Why isn't everyone talking about that for real? Why aren't you guys all over that type of news? I cover stuff like this on my late night stuff. Look at last night what I was covering. How this psycho ass lady shot her son while he was laying in bed asleep. 16-year-old boy while he's laying in bed asleep. Then the psycho get into bed with him. He said, mommy, and things like that. She takes a knife and stabs him to unalive, to finish him off. People like that need this type of treatment, but yet they don't get that. Just like when police go in here and victimize people just because they're resisting or because they went in the store and stole something or something like that, they end up unaliving them or at a traffic stop, but yet they won't do things to these type of people like the lady I just told you about. They would treat her with grace and everything else. All right. The system is backwards, you guys. And some of you guys are backwards too, because I don't know how you guys be all up on Sean Diddy Combs, but yet y'all won't be up on all these other damn criminals that's doing stuff. All these damn women abusers, these rapists, these child abusers and things like that. The people leaving kids in the car, like the psycho who left the 3-year-old in the car while she's shopping on Amazon. I got that news article. She's another defects or whatever you call it, Department of Human Service worker. Okay, what's wrong with these people? These are the things you need to be talking about too, not just Sean Diddy Combs all damn day. Okay, let's see here. So the defense did highlight Combs' involvement in charter schools and in a national voter campaign. All right, and that's where he lost Trump at. I mean, you can campaign, but when he started running his mouth about Trump did not like that. All right. Some things you need to keep to yourself. I said it all the time because you never know when you may need people, especially being rich. All right. So he did do the Vote or DIE campaign. All right. And he participated in it. He changed the way voting campaigns happen. All right. To this day. That's what Westmoreland said, Attorney Westmoreland. Okay. Let's see what else. They say he has given to others throughout his life. He has done a lot of stuff. And, I'm going to take that away from him. He has done a lot. But the thing is, Combs got to realize, the things that people are accusing him of, even the civil suits. If he did engage in these things, those things need to stop. You understand what I'm saying? The freak offs, hotel nights, all that foolishness needs to stop. All right? Point blank. Shh. And if he did threaten people, whatever he might have done, all of that needs to stop. Because we weren't there. We don't know exactly what this man did, what he didn't do. We just do not know. And the defense attorney, Westmoreland, also talked about the impact, she says, Diddy has made in people's lives. She said, Mr. Combs is not larger than life. He is just a human being. He is just a man. He's made mistakes, some mistakes. He has flaws like we all do. But Judge, how many of us can say that we have helped so many lives? And I hope they say this in court. We know that Sean Diddy Combs have done some things, all right? He needs to say this, but I deeply apologize for all of, the things that I have done, that I shouldn't have done, okay? If he just need to go into detail. Don't be revealing stuff that you don't need to reveal, but just say and concentrate on Cassie, about fighting her in the hotel. Concentrate on that and on Jane. Talk about those two, all right, point blank. And that's what he needs to be doing when he talks, period. So let's see what else they got here. So in jail, the defense talked about that. They said he offered classes to his fellow inmates. The class called Free Game with Diddy started after Combs' fellow inmates came to him, asking him to share how he found success. Combs insisted that he would teach the class only if the inmates came together in a group despite their division like race and gang affiliations. Combs took the class very seriously and spent countless hours on the curriculum. And she also said that jail officials who have evaluated the class have said it's excellent and gave Combs the highest marks possible. Attorney Westmoreland said he can reach so many more on the outside than he can on the inside. It is of no benefit to anyone to warehouse him in prison. Well, all of those people who wrote letters think it can benefit people if he stay in prison. But the thing they fail to realize is he's still going to get out. All right. His defense team, well, actually his son said that Diddy has completely changed. Okay. Quincy Brown, who spoke on his behalf, said, we are going to love him unconditionally through his struggles. But in front of us, he is a changed man. Our father has learned a major lesson. Week after week, we have seen him evolve, something we have not seen in 15 years. He's completely transformed. That's what his son said. Our father will never do anything to jeopardize his freedom. And as his children, we want to thank you. We only wish to heal together. All right. So Brown is one of the 4 children Combs shared with Kim Porter, who passed on in 2018. So then his other son, Justin, talked. Okay. He called his dad a superhero. He said, I ask that you give my father a second chance at life, a second chance to right his wrongs, a second chance to be the man he truly is. My father is a superhero. Seeing him broken down and stripped of everything is something I would never forget. He also said he speaks to his father every day, several times per day. He said his father is now D-free and he has refound his purpose. He said, I can truly, sincerely say he's changed for the better. Your Honor, I believe my father still has so much more to give the world, and more importantly, so much more to give his children. All right, so that's Justin who spoke. Then, let's see, Christian spoke, okay? He said, my whole life, my entire life, I studied my dad up and down. To me, my dad is the greatest man in the world. My whole life, he's always taught me to treat women with respect. I have seen him treat my mom with respect and treat her like a queen. He was sniffing throughout his speech to you guys. He said he's traveled across the country every week just to see his dad. he said his father for 2 hours. He has seen a change in his father during those times. He is more patient, more relaxed, more trusting, more understanding, and just a better man. That's Christian Combs. Okay, and then we have the daughter. Okay, Jessie Combs. She actually started crying as she began to address the court. She said, "We know he isn't perfect and he has made many mistakes, and we aren't here to excuse any of those mistakes. But Your Honor, he is still our dad, and we still need him present in our lives." Okay. She said, "When my mother passed, I was just a little girl trying to understand a loss way too big for words. I remember my dad sitting us down that day, holding us close, even though his own heart was breaking, and promising that he would always be there to keep us safe, that he would always walk beside us in life. It was the thing that helped me survive the hardest nights, the birthdays, and the very important milestones we had to experience without her." That's what Jessie Combs said. Okay, then we have Chance Combs, who spoke. She said her father is now more patient, more thoughtful, and more open about his mistakes. She said, "We are still just daughters who need our father." She said Combs shares the ways he's working on becoming a better man and a more present father, and I can feel a difference in the way that he listens and responds. She says she sees the difference the most in the way he parents his 2-year-old daughter Love. Watching him nurture her even from a distance has been unexpectedly healing. I can see glimpses of the father he was to us as babies, but it also breaks my heart because my sister deserves so much more than this. Okay, so that was Chance. Okay, Chance Combs. Then Delilah, she addressed the judge. She said, "We cannot watch our baby sister grow up fatherless." All right, and she was crying too. She said, "We are scared of the thought of not having our dad and our mom present in our lives. We are scared for our 2-year-old little sister that runs to us every night asking, 'Where is daddy?' We cannot watch our baby sister grow up fatherless the same way we had to grow up fatherless," she said. Delilah said her family has lost so much, and every day he remains incarcerated, we lose more and more. Please, Your Honor, please give our family the chance to heal together, to rebuild, to change, to move forward, not as a headline, but as human beings who are trying to do better." All right, so that's Delilah. And then they watched that video, okay, that his legal team put together. And Judge Submaranian did thank all of the kids for addressing the court. He said, "I know how hard it was to stand up here and tell me those things, but it is important for me to hear. It's important for me to hear." That's what he said. So the court did watch his video that Sean Diddy Combs' team put together. The video, which was released by Combs' legal team and released at the 11th hour, appears to be an effort to show the court the positive impact Combs has had during his life. It includes clips of Combs over the years showing his work with charity, youth engagement programs, giving motivational speeches about his upbringing and him getting into the hip hop and taking care of his children after his partner, Kim Porter, passed on. So the defense tried to paint Combs in a different light by showing all these videos, that video and everything by all of his kids getting up, speaking, by talking about him, even Attorney Westmoreland giving her own personal insight and, her emotional talking about Sean Diddy Combs. Let's see. So let's see here. So CNN entertainment reporter Lisa Respiers France says, "It was really hard to look away from the ugliness," adding that the defense team is fully aware that the video of the 2016 incident paints a really horrible picture of him. And so they want to present him as a more than what you saw in that video, and more than what the people who testified against him said, and more than what Cassie has said. And that's exactly what they did. Because honestly, yeah, he did the assault on Cassie, and it was definitely a hot ass mess. It was horrible. So, a lot of people do have that in their mind. And that's exactly why some people are saying what they're saying. However, he has done a lot of other stuff besides, fighting Cassie and everything. So you do have to look at everything. You just can't look at one side. Also, Combs was crying as he watched the video from his legal team. And it would have helped if he would have cried. Maybe he did. Maybe he did share a tear over some other things. Okay. So let's go on up and see. I'm not going to tell y'all about that. That's silly. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and see what's happening now with Diddy. And before we do that, let me go ahead and see the president stuff real quick. So he was found guilty on 34 felony counts. Let's see here. Come on. Count one. Damn, he got count 2 guilty, count 3 guilty, count 4 guilty, count 5 guilty, count 6 guilty, count 7 guilty, count 8 guilty, count 9 guilty, count 10 guilty. All of these are guilty. $34 counts guilty. So they say he falsified business records to conceal 130,000 hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels to influence the 2016 contest. So 34 felony counts in Trump's hush money trial. So as a first-time white-collar offender, no prison time is necessary, and he could receive probation instead. The only maximum sentence he could have got is 4 years in prison. But since he was a first-time offender and a white-collar offender, no prison time is necessary. Okay. They had 22 witnesses. They need to change the requirements for president. Anytime you've been convicted of something, felonies and stuff, you should not be allowed to be a president. Point blank. At all. That is crazy. Okay, so let's see. Go back to Diddy stuff and see. Hold on, y'all. Let me go back up here and do this. So let's see what you said, Jermaine. My thing over here is not up there. Let's see. You said like Trump. Okay. I say 18 months and credit for time served. Oh my G, that's sickening to hear about the lady who on the line for a 16-year-old son. Trump, it's a bunch of these people like that, Sabrina. Trump is another criminal that needs to be put away for life. They're not going to put him away. No more apologies. He apologized to Cassie and paid. Well, I'm just saying, to help him out. To apologize to Cassie and pay her millions. Now she needs to go away. The others are just accusations. Diddy has never been convicted of a violent crime. Right. He hasn't. So let me see what they have done so far. Any update? Let's see. Okay, let's see what they got so far, you guys. I know they'll take it all day. Let's see. So Combs tells the judge he has been reborn and he asks for mercy. All right. That's what he wrote to the judge. Okay. He said he was broken to his core. He also said he's free of a clear mind. He's clear of, the drugs and alcohol after a year in jail. And he can see how rotten he had become before his September the 2024 arrest in a case that led to the conviction on 2 P-related counts. Combs can use his fame for good if he's free. That's what the defense said. Okay. They said Combs' celebrity could be used to spread an anti-drug, anti-crime message if he's free. And that's what spokesperson Steele said. He said another attorney would address plans for upcoming events apparently featuring Combs in Florida, according to a letter sent to the court by a Miami-based nonprofit that helps prisoners readjust to freedom. So why did the prosecution try to act like he just scheduled something that's not beneficial to telling, to the people? Why did they try to paint that like what he was going to do wouldn't be beneficial to people? He was doing a thing in Miami if he gets out to help prisoners readjust to freedom. What's wrong with that? They said the letter lists a series of teaching engagements. What's that? Okay, at a prison and various other facilities in South Florida. They like too much. And that will start Monday. So prosecutor Christy Slavic said Friday morning that planning for Combs to walk free by then is basically ridiculous, okay? But you got to think positive, all right? You have to. Defense says Combs' self-punishment should be enough, basically. They say he has punished himself more than anyone will be able to punish him, and it will stay with him for the rest of his days. Mr. Combs does not need any additional time in custody. That is not the way we treat addiction and trauma today. That's what Steele said, okay? The lawyer also says Combs is haunted by his own violence. Steele also noted that Combs' best friend, Christopher Wallace, the rapper known as, B.I.G., was unalived in 1997, and then he got hooked on painkillers following a medical procedure in 2000. After that, he was high every single day. Like a lot of other people, he was medicating because his body was hurt and his emotions were hurt. Excuse me. But he never stopped working. And all of that, the addiction and the trauma untreated, Your Honor, caused him to hit on occasion the woman he loved. Steele said Combs remained haunted by his violent outbursts, remembering every strike he inflicted. They also said Combs is a family man. He needs freedom to care for his kids. All right. They said he grew up without a father, his mother working all the time, and he swore that he would be there for his children. That's what Sean is fighting for. So they're still going over a lot of stuff in this trial. So Steele is the third of the 5 defense lawyers expected to address the court on Sean's behalf. All right. So they got two more defense attorneys to address the court. And I don't know how long it's going to take Judge Submaranian to make his decision about the years. You would think, though, he would already have that in his mind because all this time he had to think about it and read everything. So I guess today is just their final, the prosecution final arguments to try to get him to do more than 5 years. And then the defense attorney's arguments to get for a lesser sentence, like a lesser sentence. I think they asked for, what did they ask for? Time served, basically, and for him to be free. no more than 14 months, right? That's what they said, I believe. Hey, Tony Vance, thank you so much for being here. So this is the latest information. Let's see here. What else we got here? Oh, yeah. So let's go over here and look at some TikTok videos, see what they have. This one new update. Let me see what they're talking about now. What do they have? This one update. Let's see here. Okay, so now another defense. That's still. Defense attorney still portrays Combs as a civil rights leader. All right. He urged the judge to only consider the conduct for which Combs was convicted, reiterating that the mogul was acquitted of the most serious charges, ex-trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. He says Sean Combs is a leader. He is a civil rights leader. His good outweighs his bad by far. Now, the judge said earlier Friday that he will weigh all relevant conduct, including Combs' violence, as he decides on his sentence. He left in place an enhancement for coercion, citing Combs' threats to his longtime former girlfriend, Cassie, to publicly release videos of their so-called freak-offs. I know. I mean, I know. I was trying to figure out how, but anyway, it is what it is. So that's the update. That just happened 2 minutes ago. All right. So you said you can't go there. Okay. So why did you say, Jermaine? Tell us why did you say, to that? Because you know we got to be fair over here on Shade Street. Why did you say, to him being a civil rights leader? Now, I don't know about that because my real dad was a civil rights leader. Okay, you guys? So I don't know if he's a civil rights leader. Okay, I don't know. He ate all that food. He greedy. She greedy, isn't she? Damn, did Mercedes eat all hers? And did the other one eat hers? I mean his? What flour he ate? Which one? Which flour is that? Okay, we got to put a piece of aluminum foil on that, okay? Put some aluminum foil on it, in between it, just like I did the other ones, so he can stop. Put it in there like very nice, okay? Like I did the ones downstairs with this badass. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. So what is a civil rights leader? Let's see. Hold on, somebody that fights for your rights, right? Black people rights. And maybe other minorities' rights too. Let me see what's the formal definition of it. Because like I said, oh, wait a minute, it's another update. Hold on. Like I said, my dad was a civil rights leader. Okay, so 10 seconds ago, Reverend Gary Johnson, a Florida preacher, encouraged the judge to release Combs to probation. Now, I said probation too, okay? Saying it pains him to see the one-time star locked up. Johnson, a chaplain for the Miami Beach Police Department, said he would personally guarantee that Combs continues his rehab post-incarceration. If you free him, Johnson told the judge, we will help free his mind. The thing about it, though, the judge could do probation, but put stipulations in it, like hardcore stipulations, because the judge can do how he wants to. He can basically give this dude 4 years, 5 years probation, okay? And he can be on strict probation. You know, physically report in to his probationary officer every month, take random D-tests and all that. Still prohibit him from contacting any of these people, any of them, okay? They could still stop him from going certain places, you know what I'm saying? They can still restrict all of that. And they could do that for 4 years and make him go to mandatory Alcohol Anonymous, the other Anonymous, domestic violence, all of that. They can do all of that. They can do that and make him pay a fine. $250,000, just like he said, not 25, but 250,000 to the victims fund. They can do all of that. Now, why wouldn't that be enough for people? But yet they don't say the same thing about other people who commit felonies that should be incarcerated. That's crazy. Other celebs who have committed or they are accused of committing some similar crimes, but no one is talking about that. Okay, they have accusations from women saying they were actually abused or assaulted or physically assaulted, but y'all not talking about that. He don't want me. I wish, because I mean, he don't have to see me personally. Just give me money to help this channel out more, and yeah, that would be enough pain he could ever experience. Okay, what? Oh my God, Jermaine, you ought to be ashamed. Oh my God, if Jermaine did a live with me, y'all would be laughing. But what he would probably say would probably be the truth. Unlike that other fellow, lying. I mean, some things he said was the truth, but not everything. You know, my ass can be quite mean. All right, and can be bossy, and can be authoritative. Right? That's cold-blooded though, Jermaine. Goodness. Sentenced to work for Shades Tube here on Shades Tube. That's so what are you saying, Jermaine? What are you saying? What are you saying? You don't like helping me on my channel, Jermaine? Is that what you're saying? Okay, so let's see. Okay, I said I wanted to see. Oh, we got another new update. Here's another one right here. Okay, hold on. Defense. Okay, so this is the fourth defense attorney right here. So we got one more. Defense lawyer Xavier Donaldson took issues with the prosecution's contention that Combs acted like a pimp as he engaged in the P-related crimes, because he didn't. Unlike pimps, Combs did not recruit women to engage in paid X work, nor did he make any money off of their work, the lawyer said. I don't even understand how they are saying, honestly, I don't even know how they're saying that he transported Cassie and Jane to engage in P like they got paid. He had them engage in X, some freaky X. Okay, but how's that P? In order to be a P, don't you have to get money? Let's see what the definition of that is. Let me look on my other phone because they got another update coming too. Yeah, that's the fourth of the 5 defense lawyers suspected to speak. Xavier Donaldson. Okay. So we got one more. Let's see. Let me see what that is though first. No, wait a minute. Hold on. I can't ask it. I have to spell it out. We're going to see what this is. I know I just spelled this wrong. Actually, I did. See, how are they even getting him on that? Okay, so the definition of the P word is the practice or occupation of engaging in actual activity with someone for payment. Well, personal or financial gain. So they're trying to say personal gain. But what's the personal gain? Let me see. They got 3 types of it. Okay, well, so you got escort or alcohol P word. Okay. So usually it's for money though. So how did they get him on the Mann Act? How did they get him under that? Because if you look up the legal definition of that word, it does not describe what he did. You have to pay someone. And they did not get paid, did they? To engage in X with those male X workers. The male X workers got a fee, but one would say they could have easily argued it wasn't for that. It was for them just coming out there being an escort, which, what did they call it? They said they hired, Cassie said she hired that one dude to come and do a erotic dance or some stuff. They could have easily played into that the whole time. I don't know. Now let's see, define civil rights worker. Yeah, for members of a minority groups. It's a leader of the political movement dedicated to securing equal opportunity for members of minority groups, mostly blacks, but other minorities as well. So I don't know what Sean Diddy Combs did in his spare time. He says civil rights. I don't know, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I don't know though. Okay, let's see here. We're gonna wait for another. We've been on here for an hour and 21 minutes. We're gonna wait for another 5 minutes and hopefully see what's gonna happen. And then I'm gonna have to leave this live. But I will be posting stuff on this trial as it comes in. And once they reach the sentencing tonight, I'll discuss it. It'll just, like I said, I'm thinking, I just hope Judge Submaranian listen to everything in the good stuff, the bad stuff, everything. And then, make a real truthful decision based on that, because that videotape of Cassie and domestic violence situation that happened way back in what year? 2016 or somewhere around that time, or 6. I can't remember what year it was, but it was a long time ago. All right. I wish Sean Diddy Combs, though, when all of this happened, after he realized what he did was wrong, I wish he would have went to a domestic violence class, prevention class way back then, and actually did stuff back then to show that he's changing and he's a changed man, and then not do anything that people are accusing him of. But being on DRUGS and not thinking correctly and just doing the most and acting like you can't be touched, it will, make people think that they can do whatever they want to do, point blank, especially money. Money will make people think they can do whatever they want to. And then you got people, encouraging certain things as well, even though now they want to claim that they didn't. Because I remember when he was doing those all white parties, and like they would be all up on like all the different video programs and stuff talking about it. Everybody wanted to go. They would make jokes about the after parties and all types of stuff. I remember all that. Okay, so some of these same people who are talking about him now were encouraging him back then. You are crazy, man. You said you would rather go to prison, huh? Well, go on here and go to prison then, dude. So, again, there are other people who are, guilty as well. That's what I'm saying. There are other people. Okay, let me go over here and look on here and see what they're saying on this other thing, and see if anybody is saying anything different. They are showing us scenes from the outside of the courtroom. Lots of people standing out there, news reporters and things like that. So I don't know how long the fourth defense lawyer is going to speak, but they definitely need to address everything, because they're fighting for this dude not to get a bunch of years in prison. Let me be quiet, Jermaine, if I have to tell you something. Okay, let me look over here, guys, and see what else we find before we get out of here. Because I do have to do my Country Wayne reaction video. I know they wait. And before I do that, I need to go down here and do something real quick. Okay, and I got a lot of stuff to do today, honestly. What's the thing? I forgot what I was doing. Oh, let me mute this. Okay, let me go see real quick. What are they saying on live coverage on TikTok? Hold on for a minute, y'all. And I know I did not share yet. Just wait on. Okay, hold on. Let me do this real quick. This is no. Okay, let's go over here and look at this real quick. Let's look at this real quick. She said the judge is showing no sympathy for Diddy. Let's see what she's talking about.
All right, y'all. So really quick, I just wanted to, we're on my lunch break. I just wanted to give you guys a little update. First of all, let me just say, people are asking, the minute I walked out of court, people were asking me, what's the feeling in there? Like, what's the temperament in the court? The last, I would say in the beginning of court, so the first few hours, it feels like Diddy about to get the book thrown at him, if I'm being honest with y'all. Like, I think, there's a lot of things to take into consideration here. I think the fact that the judge says, hey, even though he's acquitted of, all those things that relate to that RICO and everything that he didn't get hit with charge-wise, that didn't stick, you can consider that when having a conversation about certain things moving forward, as we're talking about sentencing, because the judge's point was we wouldn't have ended up here at prosecution if it wasn't for certain things that had to do with some of the charges he was acquitted. Point being, they talked a lot about the force, the coercion, the fear that they, are saying that Diddy and put into these women and put into Jane and put into Cassie, which made them do things they did not want to do. The judge specifically mentioned Diddy threatening to not pay for Jane's home or her kids' stay. The judge mentioned Diddy texting Cassie and threatening to leak sex tapes. All things that there were hard evidence of, even though those charges did not stick, right? So the minute you hear that, because what they're having a conversation about right now is like it's the guidelines, the sentencing guidelines, and what can you lean on when you.
But is that fair for the judge to be using things that he was found innocent of? I mean, what does this say about people who go to court in the future about stuff? If you are found not guilty on certain charges, the judge should not be looking at those charges anymore. Look at the stuff that he is convicted of, like the transportation of those two women for the purpose of the P word. That's what the judge should be looking at. It's not really fair that the judge looks at stuff that he is found not guilty of, in my opinion.
Or what is the court going to lean on, and what is the court allowed to lean on? And they're taking it from both sides. They're looking at, here's what the prosecution is asking for us to consider, to think about. Here's what Diddy seems asking us to consider and think about. And here's everything that each side is saying we don't want you to consider or think about, right? But then at the same time, right, you have, Diddy's team who gets up there, and Nicole Westmoreland broke down in tears. His attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, broke down in tears. And people are always like, why you refer to her as the Black woman attorney? And here I'm going to do so because I feel like it's important to do so, right? And I'll explain why. So Nicole Westmoreland she's a Black woman attorney from Atlanta. It's also been, a thing and a conversation about the fact that she is a sexual violent or sexual assault survivor, right? She broke down in tears talking about what Diddy means to his family, to the Black community, the strides that he's made as like the first Black man to do several different things, and just how he's used all of his power, all of his fame to help people. He is not a person that has just disregarded people in the way the prosecution wants you to believe. But here's the thing, before Westmoreland got up there and began to cry, and I think, and the reason why I brought up the fact that she's a Black woman on the team doing so is because none of the white attorneys could have did that. For me, in my opinion, I understood why she was doing it, but I felt like after the hours of, it was so clear, in my opinion, that the judge, he doesn't believe that Diddy is as remorseful as he should be. The judge specifically pointed out, because Diddy was asking, for sentencing to be taken easy on him because he has been remorseful to the court. He's asking several different things, but that was one of them, right? I'll get more into that later. But the judge is like, look, you've been remorseful, you've apologized for things, you haven't even, and you've admitted to things, yes, but you haven't yet to even admit to what you were actually convicted of, which was the prostitution charges, nor have you apologized for that. So no, I'm not going to say, oh my God, he's so remorseful to the court, I want to make sure we take this light. No. And while the judge is talking about what they're able to use, and these attorneys are like, Brian Still's head was in his hands, his face was in his hands, like in disbelief almost. You had two of Diddy's attorneys stand up, Shapiro and Teeny Jericho, stand up and talk about how being able to use anything he was acquitted of, how harshly that's going to impact his sentencing. The judge used the word, it would be non-consequential because you can only use it when having conversation around how we arrived to the actual things he was charged with, right? Which honestly, in my opinion, I'm like, there's no way that you only use it for certain things. And this is those things that you're talking about when it comes to force, coercion, the beating of the women, that all speaks to character. It's hard to not consider that when you're making a determination on sentencing. And Teeny Garagos made a good point. She said, hey, I just want to put on record, you said the word non-consequential. Can we please discuss, like, yes, it is. And the judge corrected himself. He said, my bad if that's the word I use, but I want to be specific when I say, here is how I imply for for us as the court to be able to use anything he was acquitted of in sentencing. And the way that I am thinking about this and the way that it should be set up based on previous case law is not when it comes to the conversation of sentencing guidelines, but solely to understand how we arrived here. And the reason why I keep saying that is because the judge is arguing and the court is believing that in order for Diddy to be convicted of prostitution charges, he had to be able to coerce the women. He had to be able to put fear in the women. He had to be able to, all of the things, run an enterprise where people protected what he was doing and there's multiple people involved. And it's obvious that they're setting up, Diddy seeing lines for an appeal because Shapiro began to speak to that. But man, when the kids got up there, because now you have Nicole Westmoreland, she's crying and the temperature, I'm telling y'all going into this is like, oh, they about to throw the book at him. They're not buying that this man, it was an addict who made mistakes. They're not buying it. They're not buying the downplaying of decision to beat Cassie up and down the hallway as a dark moment in time that he's now rehabilitated himself from. And it was obvious that the court was not buying it. Nicole Westmoreland gets up there, she's crying, she's talking about the impact on the Black community as a Black woman, what it means to her, how she saw Diddy speak in DC and how it moved her and all these things. And I think she was really trying to make the judge understand how much of a vessel Diddy is. He's better outside of a jail than inside, was her ending point. Then the kids get up and speak. I cried, y'all. Like, I was like, oh my God. And it wasn't because I feel bad for Diddy. I think a lot of the decisions that he's made has ended him up here. I wish him the best though. But it was more so about these kids did not choose this. Like, they did not choose to be in this situation. They did not choose a life that would end them up in this courtroom, crying in front of all these people, all the headlines, one of the Combs twins said, please, like, she was begging the judge, sobbing, crying, begging the judge, please allow us the opportunity to heal as a family and not as a headline. Christian was the first. Hey, how you doing? Christian was the first of, Quincy spoke first, then Justin, then Christian. But Christian was the most emotional. He was emotional first. So he talked about, everybody knows Christian and Diddy's relationship. Diddy has a relationship with all of his kids, but Christian is like the guy's twin. You know what I mean? So he talked about, understanding and feeling his dad differently than even potentially some of his siblings, and knowing that his dad has changed over time because of conversations. But when the girls begin to speak, man, Diddy's hands dropped into his head. He was watching them. He had to turn away at some points. Like, it was really tough. Like, it was hard. I was crying. People sitting next to me were crying. I'm looking in the courtroom on the monitor. Diddy's breaking down. Got people. I saw Misa Hilton crying. Who's Justin Combs' mom. Like, then they played this video that shows all of his family interactions and these moments. They couldn't even watch the video. And the craziest thing about all of this is so the day we were on break for lunch, going into lunch, it ended emotionally heavy. Before that, it was very much the court is giving no remorse to Diddy. And the whole time I kept thinking two things. These kids did not ask for this, and I feel so bad for them. And another thing I thought of is Diddy's ego and his addiction is what ended us up here. And I wish and I hope that when he speaks, he readjusts whatever he had planned, because it is very obvious that the judge he don't feel remorse from Diddy. And I think what would be most impactful to hear from Diddy today before court ends is he was an addict and what that really means. Because I think people are removing that too, because, obviously, because you saw a woman be beat on camera. So you don't sympathize with a woman abuser, and you shouldn't. But I think that there is something to, I'm remorseful, but not only am I remorseful, now I understand exactly what is fucked up to be able to begin to fix it. Do I think that the judge feels like the amount of time that he has been locked up is enough time to let him walk free with supervised release? Hell no. I don't think that. I don't think that the judge is at right now, as of court is like a little bit after 1 p.m. The sentencing of Sean Diddy Combs, I don't see a judge taking it easy on him whatsoever. This is the latest with Lorna Rosa. I'll be back at the end of court to give you guys, some talk on whatever happens.
Well, I think she did a good job at talking about it, giving her own personal insight and all of that on this trial. All right. The thing is, though, I believe he has already made up his mind too. But they still got to do this. All right. You still have to do all of this. I mean, you got to. Let me see what the one there's 2 new updates. Let's see what it is. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. So, hold on. So, a nonprofit director explains why he's planning a Combs speaking tour. The executive director of the organization sponsoring Combs' plan talk spoke briefly in court about the benefits he sees in having the music, fashion, and business mogul speak to people who have also been involved in the criminal justice system. He said, when an individual has the willingness to create his own life skills and entrepreneurship program, despite his legal challenges, that demonstrates reform and rehabilitation. Okay. This is Giovanni Serias of Re-Entry One Incorporated. Combs is slated to give 7 talks this month in the Miami area, provided he's released from federal custody, beginning on Monday at a work release center. A prosecutor blasted Combs for scheduling talks when he's facing a potential years-long sentence, calling it the height of hubris. Sierra said he was impressed by letters shared with him expressing how Combs had a positive impact on the fellow inmates he taught in jail. All right. And then after a prosecutor criticized Combs' plans for teaching engagements in Florida as soon as next week, defense lawyer Xavier Donaldson told the judge that the proposed community events were meant to show what the former rap impresario, basically impresario, I guess that's how you say it, impresario, would be doing if the court let Mr. Combs out. Okay. He said they are not meant as money-making ventures, but rather as purposeful, intentional activities that would show he would be in a structured environment, Donaldson added. Okay. So let's see. So hopefully you get a chance to do it. Like I said, I heard with the I guess she's a lawyer, I don't know for sure. I heard what she said. I do not, I know that the judge definitely has to look at the video, okay, of Cassie, getting physically assaulted by her boyfriend. Okay, I know he has to look at that and everything, but he should also be looking at the good things this dude did as well. And with everything they're telling him, we don't know for sure what Combs is thinking in his head. Okay, all we can do is guess based on what he's showing. So far, everything that he's been doing in jail, it is showing that he has, tried to change his life. Point blank. I don't know why they are trying to act like he's not doing that. Now, obviously, him being out and showing us that he is telling the truth, that's the only way we will really be able to know. Okay. And like I said, they can easily give him, supervised release. They can make that very hard. They can check him every damn week if they wanted to. They can make him report in to a probation office every week if they wanted to. And go to all sorts of classes. Definitely stay away from all these people. If they get one person calling with proof that he's threatening them or anything, that would be automatic grounds for going back to prison. Period. To going to prison. I don't know why they just want to do that. Yeah, we know. I think he has. I think when he came into the courtroom, he already made up his mind. And that's you said 4 minutes ago, The defense said you are not sentencing Sean for RICO or ex trafficking. They're like I said, they need to concentrate on that. Those two charges, right? Those two convictions of racketeering, not racketeering, of transporting Cassie and Jane Doe for the purpose of the P underneath the Mann Act. That's what they should be looking at. All of this stuff that they're talking about, looking at this, that, and all this stuff is crazy. Like I said, I know he's going to look at the video because they can't stop talking about it, and they're going to think about certain things, but still you need to look at the stuff that he has done since he's been incarcerated. He's D-free, alcohol-free, and all of that. He's been to the classes. He's been to domestic violence stuff, all types of stuff. They can even order more stuff for him to go to, okay, when he's out. They can do so much. I don't think it's fair 100%. I really don't. You got all these different people out of jails and stuff that have done way worse, period. He's not the only woman who fought, the only man who fought a woman, who abused a woman. And if only all men could be held accountable, then I would say, okay, and all men aren't, point blank. And women who do it too, because men are not the only ones who do domestic violence. There's also some women who do it to men. They need to be held accountable, period. And you are right. They're not sentencing Sean for RICO or ex trafficking. They even though he was found not guilty of those two very serious charges, they are still basically basing their decision on those charges. Okay, that's what it seems like to me. There's no more full food there, greedy. Goodness, you just ate a whole bunch of tuna and you still begging for more food. This cat right here is greedy. Yeah, they're still basing everything. It seems like they're still using that. They're still acting like he was convicted of ex trafficking, the RICO stuff. And that's crazy. That is really crazy. And over here, we're not victim blaming or anything. We're just looking at everything the way it should be looked at, okay? Period. Versus being biased and things like that and unfair. Because if it was you or your family member, I guarantee you guys will be saying some of the things you're saying right now. In either situation, Sean definitely needs help with the domestic violence, and he should be ordered to go to domestic violence classes. He should be ordered to go to those classes for a long time, along with anger management classes. All of that, because what he did in prison in jail is one thing. If he gets out and he's on probation, they should still have him do all of these classes again, even for a longer amount of time. It takes a while for people to get that out of their mind and to stop doing that. Just like being on drugs and alcohol and things like that. It doesn't happen like in a couple of weeks. Sometimes it takes people years to be D-free and alcohol free, and that's why he needs to have those classes, even mandatory classes, even after he's released, if he's released. So we just went over that. I don't know, that's the same information we just went over. So let's see what else they got. So defense attorney Mark Agnifilo updates the schedule. He says he will take about 5 more minutes. Then assisting U.S. Attorney Krista Slavic will give her rebuttal. Then Combs get the last words before sentence. Man, I'm trying to hang in for all of that, you guys, because I want to see what Combs says. I really do. While I was listening to that woman, I went over here and did some things in my room while listening to it. Let me see what else they got up here real quick. Okay, hold on for a minute, you guys. Let me go over here and look. So this is Sean Diddy. Let me show y'all. This is a sketch of him crying. Hold on. Let me pause this real quick. Let me show y'all this. But I wish he would have did this too. Just show feelings like this, when they're talking about, some of the things they are accusing him of. But maybe he was. I don't know, because I'm not in the courtroom. Can y'all see that? Let me see if it's coming up on the screen. It's taking forever. There you go. Let me start it over again. There you go. Oh, I'm gonna show y'all this in 1 second. This is from Associated Press. So that's him. And this was somebody put up here. They said, hold on. I can think of some other PEDOS that needs to be in jail with him. That's what somebody put up there. Somebody said, whatever, Cassie was crying and he kicked her, dragged her back to her. But this is not, listen, this is not a trial for domestic violence. I don't know why y'all keep doing that. All right? This is not a trial for that. Shh. This is not a domestic violence charge. All right? This is him transportation for the purpose of the P word, okay? Not domestic violence. Cassie should have took him to court a long time ago for that if she would have reported it. Okay, let's see what they're saying now. Hold on. So, Agnafilo says that multiple doctors diagnosed Sean Diddy Combs with post-traumatic stress disorder. He said they made such findings in 2014, 2017, and 2020. The attorney says it's unclear what initial trauma triggered the problem, though he noted his father's unaliving when he was a toddler. Agnafilo acknowledged that we are asking for a lot by seeking Combs' immediate release, but he argues the I'll Be Missing You singer has been uniquely punished not only with a year in jail, but with the public spectacle of raids on his home, a flurry of civil lawsuits, and the destruction of his businesses. Okay, so that's what Agnafilo said. All right. But we're just waiting on the next person to come up. This is live coverage, you guys, okay? I'm trying to hang in here with this live coverage until Sean Diddy Combs speaks. And I think after Agnafilo, is the, let me think, is it fifth person already? Let me see. Let me go back. So the other dude was the third, I think. So Agnafilo would take about 5 more minutes. And then Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic would give her rebuttal. Okay, then Combs get the last word. So he says he's going to take 5 minutes. That's why I'm trying to stick around to see this. So I think he is the fifth defense attorney. I think. I'm not sure because I lost count. So let's see, while we wait for another update, let's see what the scene outside looks like at the court. Okay, let's see what that looks like. And we're going to look on TikTok to find out. Okay, let's see. Diddy sentencing. Let's see what a courthouse or whatever. Let's see what it looks like. So this is outside of it, right? That was 5 hours ago. I don't see any more up to date, but let's see this real quick. Hey. That's one of the attorneys right there, okay? It's a lot of people in there. This person said, I know everyone has a right to defense. How can people defend people like this? Girl, dude, whatever you are, that's with anyone, okay? They defend anybody. What are you talking about? All right? They defend anybody. If they can defend rapists, child rapists, child murderers, why in the hell can't they defend Diddy? Are you crazy? Told y'all to say some crazy stuff. So the Punisher was there. Let's see what he said. Let's see what the Punisher is saying.
Why did you decide to come here today? Of course, Diddy
This has been a huge part of my life also, in terms of the way it changed things and influenced stuff. And I think for me, it's almost like a form of closure. This it's really been a crazy time. And, I've been doing a ton of media, trying to change the narrative and represent myself in a way that as best as you can under these circumstances. And again, with it all coming to a close, and I kept getting all of these calls from large networks and stuff to speak on it and kind of do a closure thing. And I just decided to come out here myself. I'm really hoping for time served. And the reason why I'm hoping for that is even with my testimony, walking out of the trial, I said, well, this is my isolated experience. But for some odd reason, a lot of the male sex workers started reaching out to me. And this was very candid conversations, one-on-one and stuff. And every single one of them had the same experience I had, not seeing any signs of distress or force or anything to that degree.
So Sheree, why did you decide to be here today to force Diddy sentencing?
This has been a huge part of my life also, in terms of the way it changed things and influenced stuff. And I think for me, it's almost like a form of closure. It's really been a crazy time. And, I've been doing a ton of media, trying to change the narrative and represent myself in a way that as best as you can under these circumstances. And again, with it all coming to a close, and I kept getting all of these calls from large networks and stuff to speak on it and kind of do a closure thing. And I just decided to come out here myself. I'm really hoping for time served. And the reason why I'm hoping for that is even with my testimony, walking out of the trial, I said, well, this is my isolated experience. But for some odd reason, a lot of the male sex workers started reaching out to me. And this was very candid conversations, one-on-one and stuff. And every single one of them has the same experience I had, not seeing any signs of distress or force or anything to that degree.
So Sheree, why did you decide to
So he's saying that he obviously get time served so he can put this behind him too. Okay. We have another update. Prosecutors suggest Combs' image isn't true. Okay. Now, after the defense lawyers and witnesses had their say, prosecutor Christy Slavic is getting a chance to do her rebuttal. She's telling the judge that Combs is a master puppeteer of his own image, but that image is incomplete and it's misleading. Okay. So when I get another update, I'll tell you guys that's the update with with prosecutor Christy Slavic. Okay. After she speaks, I think Combs has his chance to speak, and that's what we're waiting on. Then I don't know how long it would take for the judge to do his sentencing. Hopefully he can go ahead and do it. Knowing him, he'll probably take another break. I hope not. And we can go from there. Okay. Let's see what else we can pull up while we're waiting. Thank you guys so much for being here as well. Okay. So the Punisher came to support Diddy, even though he testified. Okay. So let's look at this. Let's listen to this.
Diddy's team dropped an 11-minute video this morning ahead of his sentencing, where he presented himself as a do-gooder to appeal to the judge.
It's no better way than taking it to the streets.
I got to turn the music down. Okay.
And to show kids and everybody.
So basically, he was just showing what he'd been doing throughout these years. That's his kids dancing.
To be marathon and donating to schools. Much of it comes off like a documentary, highlighting his good deeds. But will it be enough to convince the judge to set him free today? Make sure to listen to the Trial of Diddy podcast after sentencing for all the details. Diddy's.
Okay. So we didn't know he was out there feeding people and stuff in the hospital. Let's look at that again. I'm turning the sound down though. So he was running for a marathon for an event. That's his blisters he got and stuff from doing it. His daughter's birthday party for one of his kids. And his little baby, Love. He's cute. They're all cute. And this is somebody he's feeding. Was that Kim Porter or something? I don't know. But anyway, that's the video they saw. That's why he was crying. Okay. Here's the family coming into the courtroom. Let's see this. I got another update too. Let's see this first. This is kids heading to the courtroom.
Morning, guys. Yeah.
He's off for clothes. We got two updates too. Let me stop. Do my exercise. They look cute though. Dressed the twins. And what's his name right there? Okay. So anyway, Sean Combs fans have come to the courthouse for the sentencing, where they have been watching the proceedings on closed circuit monitors in the overflow rooms. Somebody said, I am here to see how the justice system plays out, to compare with others of his caliber and color have faced with the sentence Sean Combs will receive today, said Desiree Monroe, who came from Pennsylvania. All right. Now, Combs himself will address the judge after a short break. I knew it was going to take another daggone break. Man, how long is this short break? These people take so many breaks, it's ridiculous. Hey, how long is this break? That's why I don't cover stuff live. You know, like these court cases, I usually wait till it's over because they be taking 1,000 breaks. Gosh. Okay, let me go ahead and see what else we can pull up on TikTok while we wait for them to come back off a break. So we just saw Combs' family came, you know, when they came into the courthouse, we saw his sons, King and Justin, and Dana Tran, the mother of his youngest child, was seen leaving their New York hotel this morning on their way to court for Sean Diddy Combs. Plus, she saw his daughters, Jesse, Delilah, and Chance. Okay. So that's what you just saw. Okay, let's see what else we got here. So that's them walking into the courthouse. Let's look at this real quick. Let's look at this one.
Injustice today, please. What y'all think? Justice or injustice?
So I do hear music. Let me mute it. Okay. Damn. So that's the kids walking into the courthouse. They're holding hands, as you guys can see. All right. And the other ones will come eventually. His mom came about 90 minutes before. All right, so his mom had already walked in. Let me see if they show a picture of his mom coming. Let's see. I don't see anything with her walking in. Yeah, I don't see that. Oh, look at the pictures they showed. I'm just gonna mute this so y'all can see it. It's already muted, but we just want to see the video. I don't want to hear Harvey. Let's see if they show the video. I guess they didn't show it. They just showed it on a pre-thing. So I guess they didn't show it. But we did see some of it anyway, so it is what it is. I don't know if the judge was upset about that, him booking that, especially once he heard the reason why. So they had lines outside of the courtroom. Goodness, let's see this. So they had lines outside for people to get in. I'm gonna turn this back off because they got this music playing like always. Let's just show y'all some of the lines outside of it because everybody want to be there to see. But some of these people never seen Diddy before. Y'all know I went to a function back in 2013 and Diddy was there. All right, so I seen him in person and everything. That's why when I saw this stuff, I mean, the domestic violence I can't believe. I'm not gonna lie. Any person, and so many people do that, it's plain ridiculous. But all this other stuff, I was shocked. Okay. So let's see here. The new update. So we got a new update. The prosecutor hit back at Combs' team portrayal of him as a man devoted to helping others improving their lives. Okay, let me read it again because my voice went out. The prosecutor hit back at the Combs' team portrayal of him as a man devoted to helping others improving their lives. She, by contrast, cited the words of one person whose life the defendant has changed, Cassie. Slavic she read from a letter that the R&B singer submitted to the judge, saying that she still has regular flashbacks and nightmares about Combs' abuse. My experience was real, horrific, and deserves to be considered, Cassie wrote. But at the same time, then the defense attorney should come back and say, we definitely sympathize and empathize with what Cassie said. But at the same time, Diddy is sorry for what he did to Cassie. He apologized. He's sorry for what he did to Cassie. He got help with domestic violence. If he's released, he's going to go to additional programs. And we do know that she probably will think about this, forever. But in time, hopefully, she will not think about it as much. And all he can do basically is try to prevent this from happening to other people, and try to stop other men from doing the same thing. They can say something similar to that. Not exactly that, but something similar. All right. So we just saw all these people in this line waiting on to get in there. Let's see what else we got. Let me like this video first. I forgot to do that. Let's see what else we got while we wait. Here's a new update. Hold on, let me go over here so y'all can see in here. So a new update just came in. A founder of a private school where Combs is scheduled to speak if he's released believes everybody deserves a second chance. Thea White is one of the founders of the Sprouting to Success School in Miami Gardens, Florida. White told the Associated Press that Combs will address kids in the K-12 school on October the 14th if the judge lets him out of jail. She said, I believe that life isn't just about never making mistakes. It's more about what we do after we made those mistakes. She declined to say how the speaking engagement came together. Okay, so these are updated live updates that I'm giving you guys, okay? Okay, let's go back over here. This is the first time I ever did like a live like this on the court case, okay? Hopefully they hurry up within the next 30 minutes because I definitely have to do my other live. And then, of course, y'all know what I'm getting ready to say. I got to get out of here. But the good thing is that I'm not just sitting here in the twilight zone. I am actually doing some things that I got to do while I'm playing these videos and talking to you guys. Let me see what else they got here. I would like to see Janice Combs walking in. Let's see. Let's see if they got anything with Janice on it. Let's see if we can get her. I don't know. I don't see the mom. The mom came in before them 90 minutes before. So a key witness back. Now let's see what she's talking about. They're talking about that Gina chick. Let's see.
Mia, a former Combs assistant. We just got word that a witness who testified under the pseudonym Mia, a former Combs assistant, backed out of giving her.
This is another another person, Mia. Okay, let's listen to this
Victim impact statement today, with prosecutors saying that she received a bullying letter from the defense. Diane.
Bernarda, how do you handle that when you have no victim impact statements and one who wanted to speak saying she basically backed out because she was scared?
Well, Diane, when it comes to
hold on, let me stop this real quick. So why is this person saying he is given 2.5 years prison time plus 5-year probation? They haven't made the decision, but you know that could be possible. Okay, he said no, it's not my uncle. Worked in the courtroom when they did the sentencing, so he was given 2.5 years plus 5 years probation. Thank you much. Okay, we will see. All right. We will see. So remember this. Remember this dude just said that. Okay, which one was I on? Yeah, was this is this.
We just got word.
Remember that dude just said that. Okay, on here.
Impact statement today, with prosecutors saying that she received a bullying letter from the defense. Diane.
Bernarda, how do you handle that when you have no victim impact statements and one who wanted to speak saying she basically backed out because she was scared?
Well, Diane, when it comes to sentencing day is very emotional. It's very impactful for both sides, both the prosecution as well as the defense. And in terms of the prosecution, you have to think, while a physical victim is not going to come forward and speak during these victim impact statements, the government represents the victims. And also take into account that letters were submitted, especially a letter from Cassie Ventura was submitted to the court for consideration by the judge in terms of what is a just sentence in this case.
Bernarda, as Rena said, we are going to hear from Sean Combs himself. He's expected to address the court. What are you watching for there?
So we already got a glimpse of what Sean Combs will be telling the judge, because last night they did submit a 4-page letter in the sense that Sean Combs is admitting to his wrong. He is requesting mercy. He is apologizing for all the hurt he has caused. And he's pleading his case to this judge that he is rehabilitated, that he has learned from his actions, and that he is deterred from committing any criminal conduct and is asking for a second chance. So what Sean Combs is going to do, he's going to wrap his way to the judge and say, give me mercy. I will not commit crime again. And I am apologetic for the hurt and pain that I have caused.
We just got word that a witness who testified under the pseudonym Mia, a former Combs assistant, backed out of giving her victim impact statement today, with prosecutors saying that she received a bullying letter from the defense.
What is that bully letter? What does it say? Oh, let me see it right here. Let's see what they're talking about.
Prosecutor Mary Slavic told the court the victim no longer wishes to address the court here today. She added, "I'm comfortable representing to the court that in part due to the letter submitted by the defense Wednesday that can only be described as bullying." The judge didn't disagree. He said he found the defense's tone inappropriate. With that, the moment evaporated. There would be no public words from the women who once accused Combs of years of abuse. Mia had already testified in May. Under oath, she broke down in tears, telling jurors that Combs, her employer and music world icon, repeatedly abused her during the 8 years she worked as his live-in assistant. She had agreed to speak again at sentencing, but she stayed silent. Instead, all eyes turned to the defendant. At 10:10 a.m., Sean Combs walked into the Manhattan courtroom. The man once known as Diddy, 55 years old, wore an oatmeal-colored sweater over a white shirt and dark slacks. His beard was trimmed, his hair streaked with gray. Reporters noted his look, salt and pepper hair, glasses sliding onto his face as he sat at the defense table. He unfolded a document and began reading silently. Before he sat down, he hugged his lawyers. In that silence hung the weight of the accusations. A former mogul facing sentencing, a victim who had spoken in open court but chose not to speak again, a defense team accused of intimidation. Prosecutor Mary Slavic told the court the victim no longer wishes to address the court here today. She added, I'm comfortable representing to the court that in part due to the letter submitted by the defense Wednesday that can only be described as bullying.
Oh, I think we read that letter. I don't see no letter being bullying. Okay, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. So this is Janice right here.
Wig. The woman is going through it. She is going through it, child. They wig. The woman is going through it. She is going through it, child.
Next her walk.
They wig. The woman is going through it.
Okay, stop making jokes about this woman. So this is live, but we're not going to watch a live video because it's not going to be truly live like we want it to be. So basically, we're sitting here waiting. We hope they don't consider 50's letter. They're considering everything else. They probably will. Okay, they probably will consider 50's crazy ass letter. And everybody know he trolls like on everything. But you know, knowing them, they probably consider that. They considering everything else. Huh? Shit. Let's see what else they got here. Hold on, you guys. I forgot what I did with my thing right here. So we just saw her. What? I got the wrong thing up here. Hold on, y'all. We just saw Janice Combs walking into, well, they took pictures of her walking into the courthouse. All right, let me see what else we can find while we're waiting. It is a new update. Let me see what this new update says. So the new update is, let's see what I had. Okay, so he is speaking now, okay? Okay, Sean Diddy Combs calls his behavior, thank you, disgusting, shameful, and sick. He's on the right track with that because it definitely is. And I'm glad he is acknowledging that, okay? So let's go ahead and wait to see what else he's saying. Why is this on here? So again, Sean Diddy Combs is speaking at his sentencing hearing, and he's saying that his behavior is disgusting, shameful, and sick. Okay, I'm going to tell you more stuff. Hold on for a second while we wait for that update to come in. Let me see what else I can find over here on TikTok. All right, let's go over and see what we can get. Maybe somebody else got that really quick. Let's see. Diddy sentencing hearing. Let's see what we got here. You have to hurry up. Oh! Nothing new on here yet. Okay. Oh, this is old. Oh, we haven't went through this. Let's see if they got anything different. Well, let's see what he's talking about. Okay, real quick. How much sentencing does he think Diddy will get while we wait for another update?
Here's good news. I have no idea what's going to happen with Diddy tomorrow. I am listening to these two guests as closely as any of you.
Let's see.
I don't know if he's going to get a bunch of years. His judge doesn't seem to love him.
I told y'all.
Now, he's going to be sentenced tomorrow for the 2 counts, right? What were they again? Roll up so I can see. Transporting women across state lines, Mann Act, for the purpose of prostitution. Combs was acquitted of the 3 more serious charges. Remember the racketeering, the RICO? Remember how we were here saying, I'd never seen any RICO where it's just one guy like this. Prosecutors want him locked up for more than a decade. Diddy's defense has asked for a little bit over a year, including the time served already, which would mean he would be just about ready to get out. So the strategy has been remind who Diddy is on the positive side. Dozens of letters, including from his family, former girlfriends, employees, even fellow inmates, to whom he's teaching a business class. Quotes are common, such as, Mr. Combs teaches us about how chasing easy money is the wrong way to achieve greatness. Mr. Combs has affected me in a good way and has impacted me because I've learned many things, like how to create a successful plan. He's given me something to look forward to, and I'm currently studying a new business venture. So when I'm released, I can move forward. Now, of course, the judge could say, great, you'll do a lot of good while you're on the inside for the next 5 years. There are also letters asking the judge to throw the book at Combs. His ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, wrote, his first actions will be swift retribution towards me and others who spoke up. I remain very much afraid of what he's capable of and the malice he undoubtedly harbors toward me for having the bravery to tell the truth. Combs himself wrote his own plea. I take full responsibility and accountability, he wrote, for my past wrongs. The old me died in jail and a new version of me was reborn.
Let me stop this real quick. We got another update. Let me tell you guys what it is. Hold on. Okay. This is the same thing. Okay, this is not really. Wait a minute. No. Combs addressed the sentencing judge. He lets out a deep breath and then began speaking, starting by thanking the judge. He said, I want to thank you for finally giving me a chance to speak up for myself. One of the hardest things I have had to handle is to be quiet, not able to express how sorry I am for my actions. Okay, so when we get another update, I'm going to let you guys know. Let's go ahead and finish listening to, I think his name is Como, right?
What do we think is going to happen? Two much better minds. Criminal trial attorney Sarah Azari, civil rights attorney Ariva Martin. All right, Sarah, I start with you. Ariva, great to have you as well. I don't have a clue. What do you think and why, Sarah?
What do I think is that the prosecution couldn't get him with the serious charges at trial, so they're making up for it here. And I think, to me, it's very obvious, Chris, they are victimizing people who are not victims.
Right.
They, much like initially thought that his ex-girlfriend Gina should be a victim, and she didn't show up to testify, and she apparently now in a letter is saying, I was never a victim. I didn't consider myself a victim. I was in a consensual relationship, and this was our intimacy. They are also, Chris, turning those male escorts into victims. All along, we've had Cassie and Jane. Now suddenly they're adding 8 more victims of the male escorts. Why? Because when you have 10 or more victims to a crime, you now get grouping, and that's a way to enhance the sentence. It is dirty. It is gamesmanship. And I don't think he should do a day more than what he's done. But
I agree with this lady right here. It's plainly ridiculous.
think if he gets 4 or 5 years, that's probably supported and fair.
And see, I say the same thing. If he gets 4 or 5 years, I hate to say it, okay, but we're hoping that he really doesn't. Okay, like I said before. Go ahead. Let's go ahead and push this the rest of it.
Ariva, I keep hearing in people's comments about this, but the tape.
Keep on using that tape.
You know, what people saw him do to Cassie seems to be the end of the analysis. Now, a judge is a lot more sophisticated, though, right? So how do you think it breaks and why?
Well, I think, Chris, you don't have to be a lawyer to determine what this judge is going to do. You just have to be an observer of people and an observer of the facts in this case. The judge has pretty much signaled what he's going to do. Diddy was in court recently asking for an acquittal, asking for a new trial, asking to be released on bail, which he's been asking since the conviction. And the answer coming back from this judge over and over again is no, no, and still no. The judge continues to make reference to the violence that he heard, the evidence that was presented during this trial, and the judge has made it clear that he's going to pay a price for the violence that he perpetrated against the victims in this case. I don't know what trial Sarah was watching when she said there are no victims. There are plenty of victims. And I think we should expect this judge.
She said they added to the victims.
Right. She see how they be going and saying stuff people did not say. She did not say there is no victims. There are no victims. Just like Como said, she said they're adding to the victims. They had a certain amount of victims, and then they came up with additional victims. That's what she said.
She didn't say there are no victims. She said they added to the victims to enhance.
Victims. There are plenty. Thank you for that correction.
But all these victims are not on trial. They did not testify, and we're not talking about all of the victims. We're talking about Cassie and Jane Doe. Okay, we're not talking about every person who did a civil lawsuit, every person who came up there and spoke in his court case trial. Okay, remember, he was found not guilty on that. Why are people still talking about that? We need to talk about the people who are, associated with this transportation of Cassie and Jane Doe for the purpose of the P word. That's what we need to talk about. Okay, point blank.
clear. There are plenty of victims in this case, and we heard from those victims. And I think the judge is going to do what he's continued to do in this case, which is hold him accountable for his acts.
So here's the thing.
Let me just say this, and you know what? We agree with holding him accountable. He's been held accountable since last November, okay? He's been held accountable when he went to trial and was found not guilty, and then guilty on the other two charges. In my opinion, is not the P word, because no money is involved that he made off of them, you know, of him allegedly putting them up for the P word. All right. So, I mean, what is this all for? All right. Point blank. I still believe they are holding that video of him beating Cassie up as one of the primary reasons why they are trying to give this man all these years in prison. And it's not right, because you got other domestic violence people who've been through you know, same situations or similar situations, and those people who do this to them do not serve all this time incarcerated or get this amount of attention or anything else. And I know they're not Sean Diddy Combs, but still.
They are scouting for victims. The most contested thing
Yeah.
in this sentencing hearing is the idea of whether relevant conduct includes the acquitted conduct. So
Right.
relevant conduct has to be considered by a judge in arriving at a fair sentence. But there was a recent change in the law, Chris, where they said that under the sentencing guidelines, if you're acquitted of an offense, then perhaps that conduct is not relevant. That is the key fight
And
tomorrow.
that's exactly what I said. How are they using the charges that he got found not guilty of? They're still using this against this man when they should not be using this. How is this even fair or right? And I know a lot of people are biased and want Sean Diddy to go to prison for whatever reason. The thing is that it's just not right. Okay, point blank. You have to choose his sentence based on being fair. All right. Yes, he needs to be held accountable. He has been held accountable, and they can give him 18 months with time served. And then he do the additional months. And then when he gets out, he has probation. And then he has to be required to go to anger management, to domestic violence, to D rehab, to alcohol rehab, all of that stuff. He can be made to do all of these things, to report into a probationary officer, a probation officer, once a week or once a month or whatever they need him to do. Pay a fine, $250,000. All right. Stay away from all of these victims. No threats, no letters, no phone calls, no texts, no nothing. They can put that there. Period. If he was a threat to, if he's such a threat to Cassie now, why in the heck wasn't he a threat 4 years ago? Why didn't she go file charges on him 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago? All these other people too. Huh? Jane Doe, if that's the same lady who claims she's so scared, but yes, she's still letting this man pay a mortgage, and they talking about he was using that as a leverage. He was basically saying he wouldn't pay it no more. Damn, he shouldn't have been paying it in the first place. How about you go get a job and pay your own mortgage? How about you do that? Go get something you can afford. I wouldn't be paying it. I would have stopped paying it a long time ago. Period. It's not right.
Is whether acquitted conduct is relevant conduct. If it is, he's screwed.
And I love
good news.
These people just said, this one lady, legal analyst Sarah Azari, okay? So hopefully, and the other one is civil rights attorney, Ariva Martin, okay? So they was discussing how much prison time Sean Diddy Combs could get. Let me go ahead and get back over into these updates real quick. So we got, first let me read your comments. You say, you hope they don't consider 50's letter. Chris is always on it. Used to watch him on CNN. Right shade is absolute BS. And I agree. Okay, so now I got 3 updates. Let's see what they are. All right, so 1, Combs offers multiple apologies to Cassie. I told you he should do this. He did exactly what I said to Cassie, because you have to apologize, Jermaine. You have to do this over and over again. All right, and be sincere about it. To Cassie for any for any physical or emotional harm he caused her. He said, I don't, hold on. Excuse me, y'all. He said, I don't take that lightly. Now, to Cassie's family and to Jane, he said, I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry I brought you into my mess. And to all victims of domestic violence, saying he knows that the disgusting, despicable video of him beating Cassie was triggering for people around the world. And that's why they showed it, to do that, okay? No, he should have apologized to Jermaine. You're wrong right there. He should have apologized. Listen, we're talking about this guy's freedom. You do what you got to do to appeal to the judge and all of that, and to the public. Because even, let me tell you something, even if he is let out, okay, the public is going to be a trip. He has another challenge to get over. You're going to still get people who will not work with him because of that video. Yeah, it may not help, but still do it anyway. You don't sit up there act nonchalant and don't apologize again. Dan Combs says he lost his businesses, his career. He said, I totally destroyed my reputation, but most of all, I lost my self-respect. I have been stripped down to nothing. Okay, that's what he said. He said, I hate myself right now. And he also says that he should have known better. All right. He says domestic violence is a burden he will have to carry for the rest of his life, telling the court, my actions were disgusting, shameful, and sick. He blames his D-use in part for his behavior. He says he was raised to know better, taught to know better by his mother in his faith. And he still chose to do the wrong thing, like so many people do. He also apologized to his kids. All right. And his voice broke as he apologized to his mother. He began to cry as he told her, I failed you as a son. You taught me better. You raised me better. That's sad. And this, everything that I said he should do, he's doing that. You have to, you have to be sure, you have to show your feelings, okay? You have to show your feelings and let it out. Maybe it'll touch the judge, okay? And definitely the public too, because even if the judge, gives him 18 months and he gets a year or something time served and he gets out in January, the public is going to be even harder because they're already jumping on him. And then you got people who he may try to work with. They're not going to work with him because of that domestic violence video. So he definitely has to keep apologizing. He's going to apologize some more, even when he get out, okay? It's going to continue to happen. You're going to have people shouting out stuff if he going to speak publicly somewhere. Just watch. You'll see. He better have security because you got some crazy people out here. They may try to take him out, So he has to have security, all types of stuff. So it's going to be a long road, even if he gets out of prison. Honestly, he needs to just move to a whole nother country and just, rebuild his life. But I don't know if he's going to do that. I'm just saying. That's what I would do. Because I don't see it being, I don't know. I mean, because all these advocacy groups and stuff that will definitely do some things if people support him. So I don't know. I don't know how that will play out. We will definitely be seeing if he gets out anytime soon. And if he does get more years in prison, I'm sure they're going to do many appeals. I mean, many. If his friend does not do a what's name for him. What you call that thing, a pardon. Can they do a pardon on federal stuff? They can, can't they? Trump can. So let me see what y'all saying. I had to get me some water. If all he got to worry about is the moral conscience of the American people, most of them have done much worse. Yeah, but people are quick to be talking about what some famous person did, and they be out here beating their women asses, okay? Or forcing them to have X, or doing some of the stuff that he's been accused of, or buying peas off the street corners and things like that. Yeah, party. So, I don't know what Trump would do, if he did get convicted. But the thing about it, the only thing I just wish Diddy would have ran his mouth about Trump. Like I said, you gotta watch what you say. Some things you don't need to say out in the public. All right, he used to be his friend anyway. Why even say all that stuff? These people be faking and shit, act like they ain't people friends, and be really they friends. So I don't, I don't know why he even said all that just to get people to vote. Okay. He should have kept that to himself. Period. So let's see what else we got here while we're waiting on this. Okay, I got the 2 o'clock. Hopefully they hurry up and do this before my other live start. But the good thing is that your girl then sat up here and did almost everything that she had to do up here anyway. It's something that's important for me to do anyway, because I can't be getting off schedule. Let me see what this new update is saying right here. Okay, let's see here. So hold on, let's see. Okay, let me go back. Okay, so Combs said he let Black people down. He said going through all the people he's failed, Combs touched on the disappointment his behavior has brought to Black people, a community he had sought to uplift. He said, that was my mission. I got lost. I'm not this bad person. I'm sorry to my community for letting you all down. I want your honor to know that if given a chance, people can change. I know I have changed. Okay. Y'all love the way I'm changing my voice. So that's what he just said, you guys. Like I said, over here, we're giving up-to-date information right now. This was the first time I've ever done this. It's actually fun to do this. It takes a lot of time, though. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I'm glad I can do this today because normally I'd be so busy. I'm busy today, but I took the time out to do this and everything before I do this other live, which will only be for about an hour today. And I know they're waiting for that one too. So let's look at something else while we are waiting on what else Combs is saying. So he is up on that stand standing up talking to the judge right now and appealing to Judge Submaranian. And I hope that this man is listening because he acts like he has some type of personal vendetta against Sean Diddy Combs. Maybe he has somebody in his family in domestic violence. I don't know. But I've been in domestic violence and I'm still thinking with a sound mind about this whole thing. I was in it for how long? For about when did I move to? For about 8 years or so, or 9. I don't know. It was a long time before I moved to ATL. That's another reason why I moved to ATL, to get away from him. Because of what I was doing is I was going back and forth to him and going to what do you call that when you go for he went for DRUG rehab with the military. I went to that with him. I didn't go to the actual class, but I went with him when he went there. He left from that hospital and stuff. So I went through a lot of stuff with him. So I know all about it. Trust me. Okay, so he just did this right here. Hold on. He said, I know that I have been changed. I know I have been changed for the better. I can't change the past, but I can change the future. I ask your honor for mercy. I beg your honor for mercy. I ask your honor for a chance to be a father again, a son again, a leader in my community again, for a chance to get the help that I desperately need. Hold on, let me just switch. Hold on. To be a better person because I don't want to let God down. I don't want to let my family down. Then Sean Combs said he is willing to comply with any conditions the judge imposes when he's released. Like I just said, they can, they can give him some hard conditions. Okay. He said, I have nobody to blame but myself. I know I'll never put my hands on another person again. I know that I have learned my lessons and I take full accountability and responsibility. Okay, so that's what he said. So let's see what else he said here. Hold on. Okay, we're waiting for another update. I just gave y'all that one. Thank you to AP News, okay, for giving these updates. Associated Press is always doing their job, man. I get a lot of news information from Associated Press because they be on their P's and Q's. Along with TMZ, I get a lot of information from them. That's why I always give acknowledgement to where I get my information from. I'm not the one that go to YouTubers and things like that. I like to get my stuff from the sources, okay? Sometimes I get a little stuff from TikTok, but I still double check it because a lot of stuff be, misleading and it's not correct. So let's see. Okay, so while we're waiting on another update, let's see what else we can find on TikTok to see what these people are talking about in this court. Let's see. Let's refresh this. Yeah, we can do it like this to refresh it. We just do that. So basically, no one has. Okay, so he's minutes away from sentencing. Let's look at this real quick, what she's saying.
Diddy is just minutes away from sentencing, and it has been a dramatic day from the start. He had a chance to speak to the judge, and this is what he had to say, but I will say he is very good. He told the judge, I take full accountability and responsibility. The prosecution wants to make an example of me. I want you to make an example of what a person can do if they get another chance. And if you give me another chance, I will not let you down. That's pretty good. He blamed Ruggs for his actions. He said, I got lost in my dream of life. I am not this larger than life person. I am just a human being. I was trying my best. I got lost in my excess. Then after saying that he had been stripped down to nothing, he turned to his family and sobbed and said, you taught me better. You raised me better. He was speaking to his mother. He mentions his kids and he said that I'm scared, they're scared, I have nobody to blame but myself, and I will never put my hands on another person again. I have learned my lesson. He also stated that he wanted to apologize to Cassie Ventura's family and to her. He mentioned that he apologized to Jane as well. He begged the judge for mercy, to be a father again, a son again, and a leader in his community. He should be sentenced in just a few minutes. I will update you guys, but let me know what you think about all this. Diddy is just minutes away from sentencing, and it
was a great video she just did. She basically went over just what I just read. Okay, I think Judge Submaranian is listening to him. I don't know for sure because I'm not in the courtroom, but I know if I was a judge there, I would be listening. Okay, and I would probably give him a chance. Like I said, it would probably be what I said before. You know, if I didn't do the 4 years, I would definitely do what I said before. Or what Jermaine said before, okay, point blank, because he's already been in there for a year and something. So 18 months with a year and something served, then he has to stay in there for the holidays. I think that'll be enough trauma for him, for real, because being again incarcerated for another holiday season is going to be something else, okay? And then not to get out into January, man. Things are not, guaranteed either. So, so I mean, that's why it's going to be even more traumatic because, January seems like a long time from now if you're incarcerated. It really does. Or February. Did you say February, Jermaine? February seems like a long time from now. All right. If you are incarcerated. So he wouldn't be home free. And then he would get about 5 years probation. So if he messes up anytime within those 5 years, he can be right back in the slammer. Again, y'all haven't heard that term in a long time. I got that from TV. But yeah, he can be in there, back in there so quickly because they can make that probation very rough. Okay, report in every week, pay your fine, $250,000, plus your probation fine or whatever. They can do that. So then he started talking about his speaking engagements. He said they are not a scheme. Combs said his desire to tell his story and change other lives is not an effort to reduce the sentence. He said, this story is real. This story is tragic. I don't have nothing else. I don't have nothing else. He thanked the jury and he thanked the judge for giving him the confidence to believe in the jury so that he did not have to testify. He thanked the jurors for acquitting him on 2 charges that carry potential life sentence. As for other charges, he told the judge, I don't take lightly my Mann Act convictions. I know the prosecution wants you to make an example of me. I just want you to think of making an example of what a person can do if they get another chance. If you give me another chance, I won't let you down. And the evidence of that is those beautiful children that got up there and spoke for me. He then turned to his children and he said he loves them and told the judge he would never again jeopardize his chance to be with them. Okay? So that's the latest update right there. That was 9 seconds ago. Let's see what else we're going to get in a minute. But talking back, about his sentencing. Again, I just, hope that Judge Submarinian look at everything that he has done, positive. Don't just look at and concentrate on the bad things. Of course, he has to look at the stuff that he's there for in this courtroom today for, okay? Not the other stuff, but the stuff now, the 2 counts of transportation for the P word with Cassie and Jane Doe. Of course, he's going to look at that and he's going to think about that Cassie video too. Let's keep it real. But at the same time, he needs to think about what he just saw, okay, in the videos, what these people just said. Not just what the victim said, but also what other people said as well. Yes, people do make mistakes. People make mistakes all the time. Some even worse than him. And they are not incarcerated for many years, okay? Let's keep it real. Again, you got many other people who have allegations right now, and most of them are not even incarcerated at all. They are out on bail. Some don't even have any charges at all, like that one political person. I can't remember his name. No charges at all, but he was accused of. They made allegations of him doing extra type activities without permission. I can't remember exactly what his charges were, but it was sexual assault and some things like that. Okay, so it's not fair, and I do believe that the judge has a personal vendetta for whatever reason. He might not have it, but it just seems like he does. I don't know for sure. Maybe, like I said before, he has experienced, something similar. I don't know. Okay, we got another update. Now the judge is talking. He said, Mr. Combs, you are being sentenced for the offense of conviction, not the crimes he was acquitted of. However, under law, the court shall consider the nature of the offenses and the characteristics of the defendant. The judge also cited the law, which states that no limitation shall be placed on the background, character, and conduct that a judge can consider. Meaning, the judge can look at his character, his background, everything that they say he done, you know what I'm saying? Everything the judge knows, and his conduct now and then. He can look at everything in order to make his decision. All right. And he also, let them know that Sean Diddy Combs is not here for the stuff he was acquitted of. He's here for the 2 crimes that they convicted him on, period. So we're going to see what the sentencing will be in 1 second. Well, not in 1 second, but in a minute, I hope. So let's go ahead and put this up here, the banner. Well, actually, we won't. We'll leave it empty like this. Okay, we'll leave it empty. I was about to mess up. We don't need to put that there. We don't need to tell y'all when they do it. So you watch this. Hold on. So hopefully he heard me. He go ahead and make his thing. He is talking right now. The judge is talking right now, you guys. All right, but again, let me see my thing real quick while we wait on his decision. Let me see what people said on my thing if they answered it. Let's see, Shades too. Let's go to it and look and see real quick. I forgot to look and see. Okay, let's go to the post and hopefully they made a decision. So some people said less than 2 years. 38% said less than 2 years. I had 13 votes. Between 2 and 5 said between 2 and 5 years. 15% of the people said that. And between 5 and 10 years, 46% of the people said that. And nobody said 18 months in probation. Okay. So that's pretty interesting. All right. So thank you to all who voted. I appreciate you guys doing that. Let me show y'all so y'all won't think I'm cheating. Hold on. Let's stop sharing so I can show y'all this real quick. Ouch. A door. Okay, let's see. When a door hits you on your elbow, that is the most painful thing you can ever experience. So thank you guys for voting. All right. So again, 46% of the people said between 5 and 10 years, and 38% said less than 2 years. So we're going to see what it is. Let's go back to it and see if they got it. I think they do. Let's see. Let's hope so. So anyway, guys, hold on. I think we got it. Okay, so the judge said, I consider the facts that you are a self-made artist and businessman who has innovated, inspired, and lifted up communities, including communities of colors worldwide. It's especially impressive given the early trauma of your father's unaliving. Combs' philanthropy, including building charter schools, is commendable, and the creation of the free game with Diddy curriculum at the Brooklyn jail is praiseworthy, he said. All right. So let's see here what they got up here. So he was sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison, citing history of abusing women. So your girl was correct. 4 years, okay? That's what they're saying right here. I got to make sure this is correct. And 2 months in prison. 4 years and 2 months in prison. I told you guys, if this is true, I told you guys he would get around 4.5 years or 5 years in prison. All right? Because the judge is going to try to teach him a lesson. I told you guys that. You better start listening to Shades too. All right? Now let's make sure that's correct. It's in the headlines on here, but I'm waiting to get the up to minute thing. Up to seconds, actually. Again, judge sentenced Sean Diddy Combs to 4 years and 2 months in prison. I don't even want to flash across the screen. Well, you know, actually I can't because everybody would already know. Okay, let's see here. Let me edit this right here and put judge sentences Combs to 4 years, that's sad, in 2 months in prison because of his history of abusing women. Okay? And I told you guys he would basically do that. All right? I told you guys that. So he got 1 year time served in a month because this is October. So basically he has 3 years in 11 months in prison. So Sean Diddy Combs will be 58 years old when he gets out of prison, unless President Trump does a pardon or they do an appeal and it's granted. All right. I'm still trying to figure out how they got him underneath the Mann Act, considering you have to make money. So again, Sean Diddy Combs was sentenced Friday to 4 years and 2 months in prison in case involving ex-workers, violence, and freak-offs. The judge said a lengthy sentence was needed for deterrence. I can't even pronounce it. DETERRENCE, and that he was unconvinced that if Combs is released, these crimes would not happen again. So what's going to happen in 4 years? In 3 years? Okay. Combs, 55, was convicted in July of flying people across state lines for through marathon extra encounters. Jurors acquitted him of racketeering, conspiracy, and ex-trafficking charges that could have carried a life sentence. Again, he still got off good, in my opinion, because if they would have convicted him on ex-trafficking and the other thing, the RICO, he would be life. Okay, so 4 years in 2 months with time served for a year in a month leaves him with 3 years and 11 months. Okay, he still would be, it did help. It did help. Okay, and I do believe he made up his mind, but I still think it helped some. All right. And I still think he should be congratulating himself in his team, because prosecution was asking for 11 years. All right. They wanted him to get more than 4 years. They wanted him to get at least 7 or 8, if not 11. All right. Period. No, it's good that he did all that, because if he wouldn't have did any of that, Jermaine, this judge could have gave him more years. Okay. So he got 3 years and 11 months. It's gonna go. Listen, it won't go quick for him because he'll be in there. What he can keep on doing is keep on doing these classes for these inmates, get himself together, go to all these classes and get himself together. So when he gets out, he'll be a better person. Okay, point blank. That's what he can do. And go ahead and do some appeals, and maybe Trump will, because Trump claimed he doesn't look at what somebody says. If he think they have been unfairly convicted or whatever, he'll, pardon them. So I don't know if Trump will pardon him or not, but he might. Okay. But still, the main thing is that He only got 4 years and 2 months, just like I told y'all. Y'all better start listening. Okay, I told you that. Thank you to AP, Associated Press, for keeping us up to date, second by second, minutes by minutes. Thank you to all of you guys for listening. This was a great ass live. I cannot believe I did a live coverage today of this court case. I started it way back when it first started, back in 2024, I believe, of November, when Cassie first, started everything. I was one of the first YouTubers to even cover the story, and I've been covering it ever since then. All right, and I haven't lied or anything or put up no false information or anything. So, again, I just want to thank everybody who's been listening to me covering Diddy's news. And if anything else happened, like appeal or he asks for a pardon to Trump or whatever the case is, his team does, I'll let you guys know. And tonight I'll give you updates on everything, and recap some of this. I'm not going to go over the whole thing because it was a lot, but I will recap a little of it. So once again, Sean Diddy Combs was sentenced to 4 years and 2 months. And if his attorneys are great, they would have already told him there's a huge possibility that you may get around 4 to 5 years. Because I would have told him that if I was his attorney. I would have said you may get around 5 years. I'm thinking 4.5 years to 5 years. We're going to fight for you to get less, but put in your mind that you may be in here a couple more, at least 3 or 4 more years. That's what I would have told him to get him prepared. I still think it's a huge victory because I just thought this judge was going to try to do 7 years or 8 or 9 or something crazy. 4 years and 2 months in prison, meaning that he will get time served, right? Because they have to give him time served. So that's 3 years in 11 months, I believe. Okay? So what do you have to say about that, Jermaine? You was wrong once again, hon. When you said 18 months, you was wrong once again. Another update. So let's see. They said the judge, this wasn't just a rock and roll lifestyle, the judge says. He rejected the defense argument that this was the byproduct of consensual extra conduct in a celebrity musician's lifestyle. He said you had the power and the resources to keep it going. And because you weren't caught, you paid for it and organized these acts. You were no John. You were responsible for that. Even if your currency was extra desire and not money. All right. Submarinian is excoriating Combs for his persistent violence, focusing part of his remarks on his assault on Jane just last year. See, that wasn't good for him right there, which was after Combs knew he was under federal investigation. See, that takes a lot of nerves right there, okay, to do that. A lengthy sentence, the judge said, is needed for deterrence. He said he's unconvinced that if Combs is released, these crimes won't happen again. And then we got one more update, and then I got to get out of here. So, hold on. So it's just the same thing. It's telling him that he was sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison. Now, again, I don't know if they're going to go and ask for an appeal or they're going to go to President Trump trying to get a pardon, but I will let you know. And again, thank you to Associated Press for giving us great coverage and all the people who I just watched their videos. Thank you too. And thank you to everybody who watched this. Jermaine, thank you so much for all your help, research, everything. Tony Van stepping in, checking me out. Sabrina stepping in. These are my people who usually come to my country. Wayne, Trapstar 23, Tanya. Thank you for that donation, Tanya. And to Tony Vance last night. Everybody in the bushes, everybody who watches this in replay. Thank you guys so much. This has been an awesome live. Don't forget to thumbs up this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notifications so you can be notified of any upcoming videos. Make sure you share and leave a comment. And if you want to show additional support for this channel, you can feel free to do a super sticker, super chat, or a cash out Shades Tube, or you can just simply copy yourself a membership for $4.99 per month. Okay, and once I get enough people, I'll do other things. Now, one more thing. Judge tells Combs to expect a hard time. He said, this is hard time in prison, away from your family, friends, and community. But you will have a life afterward. That's what the judge told Combs. Since Combs has served a year in prison already, this sentence means he will be released in about 3 years. Okay, in 3 years. And I don't know if they can do any other type of things for him if he's good in prison. I don't know how that works. This is a federal case, and I don't know if they do this in this type of case. It's not a state. So you probably have to serve this whole 3 years. I don't know for sure. But it's still not as bad as it could have been. And it may not be as hard as they claim it is either, because I don't know how they will set him up in prison being a celeb. But I'm thinking it won't be the same as regular people. Okay? Let's see this. One more update. Let's see what they got now. And then we got to get out of here. Okay, we just went over that. I think that's it. I think we got everything. So it's gonna keep. They're gonna keep on making statements and things like that, and I'll tell you guys about that later on tonight. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. All right, and y'all have a blessed day. I'm getting ready to do my Country Wayne reaction video so I can get out of here after that. So I'll see you guys over there if you do watch Country Wayne. Let me take this down real quick, and y'all have a blessed Friday and a blessed weekend. And Shades 2 will be back later on tonight for your Night Owl Talk Time. Y'all, I got to get an afternoon theme. So when I play this is actually my nighttime thing. I need to get an afternoon theme just in case I do an afternoon show. But check me out tonight for Fuckery Friday. We're going to recap all of this. Not every single detail, but we will recap this and talk about this in further detail and talk about some other stuff that has been going on in the news, like D4, Diddy, and Tyler Robinson and whatever else. Okay, so see you guys tonight for the Night Owl Live. And if you watch Country Wayne and you want to see that reaction video, you can check me out in about a couple of minutes. All right, like 2 or 3 minutes. All right, let me go ahead and get ready to take this down. And we are getting ready to get out here, you guys. Have a blessed day, and thank you to everybody once again. All right, let me.
Yo, turn the lights down low and the drama up. She's late, she's loud, and she live. Woo! You already know who it is. Shades 2, baby. She back again. Mic hot, crowd lit. Vibe on 10, Shay walk in like we back again. News, tea, jokes and spins. She don't do small talk, she go in. From the headlines to the comment section, she call names with no correction. You tuned in, don't act brand new. It's late night, baby, she got that view. She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's Tube, press replay. You thought I lacked game, back again. She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's Tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. Popcorn ready, wig on alert. She dropped one line and somebody hurt. Talk show queen with a side of roast. She run this thing from coast to coast. Late on purpose, still on time. She hit you with shade, then call it a rhyme. Talk smart, talk slick, talk flame. Say the name right, yeah, late night with shades. She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's Tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's Tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. That's right. News, drama, laughs, whatever else you feel like. One mic, one queen. Late night with Shay. On Shay's Tube, she back again. Yeah, she say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's Tube, press replay. You thought I left, nah, I'm back again. She say what she want and laughs all day. Live on Shay's Tube,